Hey, we're live, Rob. It says we're live. Hey, everybody, what's going on? Welcome to the Essential Tag Team Quarenstream. Rob and I have been wanting to do something for a while now, and we just decided, well, we're stuck at home when we're not at our jobs, at our essential jobs. So we're doing something tonight. We're just going to talk about whatever. And if you guys want to join the chat, definitely. If you want to ask stuff, you want to talk about stuff, definitely put it in the chat. Hopefully this is working. Since this is the first time I've used StreamYard, Rob swears by it. So we'll hope this works. Hopefully the signal's getting out there. I'm not looking at my YouTube channel, so I don't know if it's out there, but we'll find out whenever hopefully some comments start popping up, Rob.
Well, yeah, that is the rub, but I mean, I could just do this.
Yeah, why don't you help me out here?
Look at this.
Oh, hey, look, we're up. That's
I'm looking at myself.
I'm looking at you, looking at me, looking at you.
Mind blown.
Well, I know you did your Pee Wee Herman stream the other day, which I wanted to be at, but I had to sleep. Just don't have a full movie running at. No, I'm just messing with you. Yeah, because I know you said you were able to stream that whole thing, but you said it got taken down.
Yeah, I mean, it's in I can watch it.
I
downloaded it to my computer, so if anybody wants it, I can download the whole thing to you, like an email or whatever. Next time I just won't feel like there were a few people that I knew weren't going to be able to watch it, and I just I knew the risk, but I knew that StreamYard would let me do it. And so I knew the risk of not being able to air after the fact, but 118 people were there, and that's fun. 180 people is better than 0.
How did you have it set up on screen? I tried to view it, and of course they had taken it down already. How did you have it on your screen here? Oh, you just had it on your screen back there?
My computer laptop right here had turned the volume up on the old TV with the microphone right there, and everybody could hear it. And there were people watching at home on their own copies, or there were people that had just watched it. It was a lot of fun, and everybody got to listen to me laugh and talk and tell my stories as usual, and how things, if you want to hear some real dirt on me, there's some dirt on me in that one. As far as like my past, like things from the past, like what this movie means to me, and things about that movie that I hold really, really dear to my heart. What connections to like family members that movie holds. It's if somebody said like what movie actually means the most to you, this would be up there as far as like not best or favorite, but means the most. That's definitely up there. But next time, we'll just do it where I already sent out a message saying we're not doing that again, where I'm showing it on the screen. Next time, sorry guys, you got to pay just like everybody else does.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Well, if you just make it a watch along where they can join along, like if you're watching.
That's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah. But hey, man, if you had a good time with it, the 2-hour runtime or whatever Pee Wee, whatever the Pee Wee movie is, and you had a good time, I mean,
yeah.
If not everyone gets to see it, but like you said, you have it, and if people want to see it, they can see it. So that's pretty cool. Hey, look, we have someone in the chat. Rainy T joins us. It means someone can actually see us. That makes me happy. That
I'm looking at trying to find I'm trying to pull the live comment section up.
Okay. Yeah, they.
There we go. Hey, what's up, Rainy? There, I had to have live comments up. So yeah, it doesn't really. I don't know if it says to you how many is in the room. There should be a.
Yeah, there's an eyeball up there. It says 2. It says 2 people are watching. So yeah, if you want to join the chat, join the chat. Rob and I are just gonna talk. We're just gonna we're just gonna talk to each other about stuff. You want to talk about stuff? Definitely join the chat.
Well, we can talk. We could talk about what we've been doing.
Oh boy, or what we haven't been doing.
Yeah, I mean,
most people know I haven't been putting up very many videos.
Yeah, you have excuses. I have none, but I also I really wanted to do something special for April 4/20/2020.
Man, I whenever you
having a lot of fun, is experiencing Final Fantasy VII for the first time for me.
Okay, I do have to ask you about that game because I considered getting it. I was never a fan of the original, right? I like the original Final Fantasy 2 and 3 or 4 and 6, whatever you want to call them, because the US and Japan market are always different. So I really like those. I like the original, but after that, and I did play through 8. Was it 8 the one with the one after Cloud? I can't remember the main character's name. I think I finished that one.
World.
Huh?
It's like a medieval world.
I can't remember.
Kinda.
It was pretty futuristic. I mean, and they had the gun blades and things. I finished that one, whatever it was. I think it was 8. And then, but I never really finished 7. I couldn't really get into 7. How different is this one from the original 7? I imagine you played the original 7. No. Oh, you didn't? Okay.
I'm loving the fact that all I know of 7 is that how much everybody loves it.
Mm-hmm.
I own Advent Children, which I think is an excellent like CG Final Fantasy. It's basically a Final Fantasy game with only the cutscenes.
Yeah.
It ties into Final Fantasy 7 big time. And then the game. But I've seen enough of Final Fantasy 7 to get the gist of how that game played. One of the cool things about this game is when I'm playing it, I can see the old version inside this game, just expanded on, built up on. So instead of like walking in these little tiny areas in like a PS1 game, they just make it look bigger as you're going to each place. It's gorgeous. And once you get through, there's a tutorial, which is fine, to learn how to play this style of Final Fantasy game. But then once you get into the game proper, it takes a minute to get really going. But once it gets going, it is so weird and so wonderfully weird at that. I already declared it. We had like one of the best streams last night playing. It was like part 9 of it. And once you get to a certain point, the game just becomes a joy to play because it's just bananas what's going on. Uh-oh, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Your mic's cutting out.
It muted my mic. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, it muted my mic. I don't know why. I didn't hit anything. Fun. The fun of live streams, everybody. I know the original was like turn-based combat, but this one almost reminds me of like Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, yeah.
In a way, like the way the combat is, which while I finished the first Kingdom Hearts game and I tried playing the second one and I just couldn't really get into it. I did love the combat. I just loved kind of how you just controlled everything, but it was still kind of RPG based. So I was cool with that. I like RPG games like that. So I could see myself getting into this newer version. I don't think I want to, I'll wait till it gets cheap. That's just how I do games nowadays. But I definitely will probably end up checking that one out just because that it kind of has the real-time action versus, even though I love turn-based games, and that wasn't what turned me off from the original. I don't know why I was turned off from the original. And the same with Advent Children. I tried to watch Advent Children, but of course, if you haven't played through all the original game, I don't know how you could understand Advent Children, not having played Final Fantasy VII, because I got into that. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on here. So I don't know how you were able to enjoy that. I mean, maybe
know enough about 7 that I got the gist of what was going on. Plus, those characters were also in Kingdom Hearts, so I got more background from.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Kingdom Hearts, like Cloud was in the Colosseum. Aerith was with. I can't remember where Aerith was, but everybody was popping up through those things. Sephiroth was a secret boss.
Yeah.
So like I was learning a little bit about the lore as it went along. I just never wanted to this is probably the reason at the time. And then after that, I just never got around to it, was games that evolved too far beyond what Final Fantasy VII looks like. And I'm a spoiled brat, and I want to play the most current looking generation games. So basically Final Fantasy, all those games, 8, 9, 1 through 6, whatever, they don't exist to me. I started at 10 and moved forward. But now, after playing this, I want them to give all those games this treatment.
Yeah.
Because, the combat was like Kingdom Hearts, but also there is a deeper layer to it where the game is much more difficult when you're just trying to, I don't know, Dante your way through it, where you're just like grinding against a villain.
Right.
This has ways to, like, if you time things right and abilities right, to jump between characters as you fight. As each thing happens, you can stack up and pile damage to those characters to get them to stagger, to get like bigger bosses to fall quicker. I didn't know that jumping right in, but as I go along and find how much deeper the combat goes and how it's not that hard to learn, it is becoming so much more satisfying as the game goes on. And so, I already said in my head last night that, man, Last of Us 2 might end up being the best game of the year when it comes out or after it comes out. But right now, Final Fantasy VII, I'd have to say, is the best game right now of the year.
Yeah, I know some of the videos I've watched on it. It looks pretty dope. Again, I don't buy a lot of new games, but the only game you could get me to buy brand new is if they did another Max Payne, because I love Max Payne 3 so much, and I still don't think that story is over. But and that's really one of the only games I've bought brand new, like right as it came out. In the last, I don't know how many years. I don't even remember when that came out. It's been a while now.
Yeah.
But I try to get games on sale the best I can. But
me too.
But that game the new Final Fantasy does look pretty cool. I don't know if I'll get it in a long time, but eventually I might play that one. I like what I've seen so far, even though, again, I really didn't dig the original all that much. I know it's like the beloved Final Fantasy to everybody, but to each his own. If just what little bit I got to play of it on the original PlayStation, I couldn't get into it. I don't know why. I just couldn't. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood for that kind of game at the time. I don't know, but I definitely will probably check it out someday. It may be a long time, but I'll definitely check it out someday. I'm trying to decide what I want to play next. I bought a few things. Steam had some sales. The last game I played was, I don't know if you played 1980X yet.
I don't think so. I don't know if I've heard of that.
Well, it has. I don't know if it has come out for the consoles yet. I know it's supposed to, if it hasn't already. It was like a Kickstarter, an Indiegogo, one of those type of games. It only costs like $10 on Steam. And granted, it's only about an hour or so gameplay, but it's money well spent. It goes back. It has a story that's going to continue. Hopefully they'll get to make another one. It has this story where a kid finds an arcade and the world's so bad that he kind of loses himself in the arcade, and you play the different kind of games he plays, and you're not really playing Outrun and Shinobi and things like that, but it's versions of these games. And there's like one that reminded me of like Shining in the Darkness. That's like the last level. It's like this polygon type role-playing game. And granted, the game is very forgiving. You have, let's just say, infinite quarters, so to speak. It'll let you continue and all that as much as you want, but you go through like a final fight type level and a driving level. But then as you're going through the driving level, the story's narrating to you what this kid's thinking. And it's like one of the main story plots is he's lost his father and he's with his mom, and it sounds like his father's trying to talk through him through the video game. So it's only going to get weirder. And I'm really hoping that the group behind it gets to make another one. It's just a fun, 1 hour or so ride playing these different kinds of games. And the games, some of them are easier than others. We'll just put it that way. The Shinobi type level is pretty difficult. It gets pretty crazy. But it was a lot of fun to play. I mean, it's not one that you can play. It's going to take you a long time to play, but it was definitely worth the $10. And if you especially can get it for cheaper, it's even better. But if it comes out on consoles, I know it's supposed to be. If it hasn't already, you should definitely check that out. I also picked up Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Haven't got a chance to play it yet. I've got so many games I'd pick up on sale and then they just sit there. It drives me nuts.
Yep.
I'm sure you do that too. What have you gotten that you haven't like you bought it but you haven't played it yet kind of thing? It just sits there.
Barely. I just barely played count.
Yeah, that counts.
Because like right now, I mean, I bought Borderlands 3 when it came out. I don't
Okay.
even think I'm a few hours in.
I didn't even know that one came out.
Borderlands 3?
Yeah, well, I never played the other ones.
Oh,
I don't do a lot of first person shooters. I mean, I play some every now and then, but for me, I prefer third person. So, because I like to be able to see where I'm running. Because I can't tell you how many first person shooter games I played that I would, fall off a ledge because I didn't know where my feet were, kind of thing, But yeah, I didn't even know Borderlands 3 was out, but then again, I really didn't follow it either. So
I like the compound things too. Like, I just got the new version of Fallout 76 because there's like a actual game in here now. I also got I made this big deal about Ghostbusters, the video game coming out. Played it.
Well, they revamped that, didn't they?
Yeah, they HD'd it.
Okay.
And I made a big deal about it. I did a live stream of it of the first level, and I never went back. I like it too. There's no reason I'm not playing it right now, other than I just keep doing something else.
Yeah, I know a lot of people say that game is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome.
Because doesn't it have like the original voice cast and stuff in it?
It was supposed to be the the real sequel. So it is technically Ghostbusters 3.
Yeah.
Just, with a video game avatar character like South Park: The Stick of Truth has.
Yeah. Well, that'd be kind of cool if that game, I know since they just did the HD remake, could you imagine if they added like DLC to that connected it to the new movie somehow?
Hell yeah.
Wouldn't that would be pretty awesome. Because of course, that the new movie's supposed to connect with Spangler, leaving stuff behind and his grandkids or whatever. Jaisyville joined us. That's one of my old buddies I used to work with, and now he works for a trader. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding, Kyle. But thanks for joining us, bud. But yeah, man, I would love to see them do like a connection like that with that game. I mean, because that would give you a somewhat of a reason other than, hey, it's pretty now, to get the game. If they used it to connect it to Afterlife somehow, where maybe it shows Egon going off into this, to go study things on his own for whatever it is, 30 years or whatever, things like that. That would be kind of cool, I think.
You know what we're going to get instead?
What's that?
Mobile game.
Of course. That wouldn't. Are they doing something, or are you just saying that as a joke?
I'm saying it. It's not a joke. I don't know if it's going to happen, but
but you think it? You think it is?
Dollars to donuts. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I was watching some video the other day. It was an older video, but I can't remember who it was. But they were talking about when Blizzard made the announcement for the Diablo mobile game, and the person got up on the microphone and was like, "Is this an April Fool's joke?" Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can play a mobile game for a little bit. I got hooked on a couple, like one Marvel one and one Star Wars one for a little while, but it just gets to the point where you're just like, I don't want to sit here looking at my phone for an hour. you know? So yeah, I'd rather see a PC or a console game. I'd rather see companies focus on that. But then again, they want to focus on nickel and diamond people, uh, which is unfortunate because that talent is being wasted on just nickel and diamond people. And that just kind of drives me nuts. There hasn't been a mobile game that I've been so invested in that I'm just like, I want to spend real money on this. You know, it's fun to play. It used to be fun to play Angry Birds for a little bit and things like that. But, I don't want to be that invested in something that I'm looking at on my phone. I want to sit in front of my computer. I want to sit on my console and play something. And I just wish, and I know they tried doing that on like Xbox, and I'm sure they do it on PlayStation as well. Because I know Xbox had like the Spartacus game, where they wanted you to pay real money for new equipment and new swords and new players and armor, and otherwise you weren't going to win, and that made me quit that game. So it's like, yeah, free to play, right? So yeah, I want to see companies focus more on, I'm fine with paying $60-$70 for a game if there's enough there to make it worth it, and then of course now they want you to pay $60-$70 for a game, and they want to add, hey, the game's not really complete, so let's add this and this and this and this, and you can pay another $50 for all that stuff for the complete game. Do you run into that? Do you spend money on a lot of DLC?
I don't see. Here's the thing. I've always been like, when they say you can have this game that comes with like the season pass, that's like, and that's if the game is any good to start with.
Right.
So I try not to buy season passes on anything unless I know that I'm buying it for a game where I know the formula of that game has not changed.
Yeah.
If no matter what happens in that game, like like wherever it takes me, I'm going to like it. And so I might buy the season pass for something like that and buy the whole big ball of wax at once. Otherwise, no, I don't really. I wait for DLCs to come out, and I wait for the super cheap price, even on games that I really like Fallout or Spider-Man or things like that. I mean, I didn't finish the Spider-Man DLC until just like a month or two ago, and that game's been out for like almost a year and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't think. I only ever bought one like special edition game where it was like the big $100 box that had everything. You do it once in life. Yeah. That's not so bad, right? And of course it was Max Payne 3. So, I wanted the statue. I wanted all that stuff that come with it, right? I still got the bullet keychain, somewhere. I had to take it off because I had jury duty and I forgot it was on there, and they questioned why I had a bullet on my keychain. It's like, no, it says Max Payne 3 on it. It's itched in there. It's not real. But they thought it was funny, but eventually they thought it was funny. But let's see. I only ever bought DLC for, I know there was a couple games on Steam. I wanted like some cheap DLC for like a character or something. Like when I got Castle Crashers, I wanted to play as the blacksmith. I didn't mind paying $1 for it, right? Yeah. Because I just wanted the game to look different for me whenever I played through it for the channel. And then on the Xbox, I had WWE All-Stars, and I paid for all the extra characters. They had like 2 sets of 5, but also they had a couple of free updates that gave even more characters. So that kind of spread out the money a little bit, which was nice. Sure. But other than that, I can't say I bought too many things at DLC. Most of the time, it's always for a character. Like, here's a character bundle, which I can't stand, that they want you to pay extra for characters that should be in the game anyway. But, that's just the way of the world now, unfortunately. Was it Capcom that got in trouble for that? Because the game, they had some kind of DLC or update and I can't remember what game it was. One of the Street Fighters, I think, where it was already on the disc, and you basically paid for like an unlock key to unlock something that you already owned.
Wasn't that Primal Rage?
I don't know. I don't remember.
The animals and stuff.
Well, Primal Rage was like dinosaurs and stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's a fighting game that.
Yeah.
But like, I thought that they had this whole thing where you buy this game, and there was barely anything on it, but all those characters were unlockable already on the disc. Maybe it's the same thing, just different games.
Yeah. Because I mean, that could have been the case. I mean, it's been a long time since Primal Rage came out.
Well, I mean, this goes back. Like, I remember people first getting about that on-content disc, that was already there, and then charging you again for it. It was like Mass Effect 3 had Day 1 DLC.
Yeah.
Which is like bull crap. It's on the damn disc.
Yeah.
But you could only I think it was like you could only access it if you had like pre-ordered it or something. But it was already there.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was just free for me because it came with the price of my like $5 down. But then the day it came out, you could still buy it.
Right.
And it's just
yeah, I mean, they've gotten a little smarter where they're not putting it. I mean, of course, they want you to do DL, or they want you to download everything now. They don't want to put it on the disc, so they don't have to hide it on the disc to where they can unlock it and you have to pay for it. They're getting a little smarter with that, but it's still it's a crock, man. It's like, just release the whole game, and if you're going to release DLC, make it worth it. I mean, at least it's not horse armor anymore. What was that? Was that Elder Scrolls? That like it was like $15 horse armor or something like that. It was like one of the first big DLCs. Paul just joined us in the chat.
Paul,
how you doing, Paul? Welcome to the Essential Tag Team Quarenstream, where Rob and I are just talking about whatever. If you want to talk about anything, definitely put it in the chat.
Another game we're going to be playing besides Final Fantasy VII is I've been trying to track this down. I keep forgetting to get it because sooner or later it's going to be really hard to find, and we're going to be playing Deadpool.
Oh, nice. I never got to play that one, but I did watch like the whole game, so I know everything about it. It looked like it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I never got to play it. I just never. Again, I don't buy a ton of games, so because when am I going to get to play it? Most of the games I buy are, oh hey, the kids can play this. The latest granted, I can't say I don't like playing the latest Lego games. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I enjoy playing them, but I'm not sure what I want to play next because I have things like Mad Max and things like that I want to play, but I need to stop playing games that are about the end of the world because I played through Watchmen, the End is Nigh Part 1 and 2, and that all that did was depress me. So, because it's like, I mean, the game was fine. It took me forever to figure out the like how the fighting worked really well. Because once you figured out how to fight, the game was a lot more fun because they would throw 17 people on you and you couldn't fight them. And it wasn't exactly Arkham Asylum fighting. It was in that game. I think the Watchmen game came out, I think it was like 5 or 6 months before Arkham Asylum. So there was really no excuse for how bad the fighting system was. But once you learn the counter system, it was fun. It kind of controlled a little bit like Assassin's Creed, where if you learned how to counter fight, it was a lot more fun to play. But yeah, I played through that game, and especially the last level of that game, which made me feel really uncomfortable, where you're fighting through a cat house, trying to track down one of the supervillains, and I'm just like, when you're playing a game like that and you're brutalizing people like that, I was just like, oh God, why did I play this? Of course you have to finish the game because it's the last level, of the second chapter. It's like, well, I might as well finish it, but it's like, I do not like what's going on right now. So of course, with Watchmen being kind of like the possibility into the world, I'm like, do I really want to play Mad Max where the world has kind of ended?
Yeah, but that game is really dope.
Yeah, and that's just it. It's like, I know I like the Mad Max world, right? So I just like, I know I'd probably like the game, and it's probably not going to be, it's not going to be as bad as Watchmen, right? So,
I mean, it's a game based on a movie universe. People understand that, it's a, once you start doing like the combat mode part of it, people aren't going to be thinking about whether it's the end of the world or not. It's going to be just like, oh my gosh, is he going to be able to take down this whole, train, like full of cars to take down? Like, that game is dope.
Yeah.
Don't, if you want to play that game live, play that game live, man. That game, I am always on the fence about streaming that game.
Yeah, it's one. Oh, I didn't mean to show that. Paul says, I guess you can pop up comments. I didn't mean to do that. But he says, are you getting HBO Max? Maybe.
He asked me that too.
It depends on what it has. If some of the DC Universe stuff moves to that, I may dump DC Universe and get that when like a series I want to see is over. I'm enjoying the Harley Quinn show, the cartoon. After a few episodes, the comedy got a lot more intelligent, which makes it better. So if that one moves over, I'll probably do it for like a month to watch it all when it's all done. But I'm not going to constantly subscribe to HBO Max. What are you getting HBO Max when it comes out?
I'll do a trial if there's a free trial, and I'll try to find some reason to keep it. But unless there's something that, just like Apple TV, like I don't even think there's an Apple TV app on my PlayStation. Nothing over there said I have to buy this for that show or this show or this movie. And I think the same thing's going to ring true for HBO Max, where I'm going to look for something that hooks me, like really hooks me. Otherwise, there has to be something in there that just I can't live without. And honestly, if I can't live without it, maybe I should just buy the Blu-ray or the DVD if possible.
Yeah, and that's what I'm about to, because like my DC Universe subscription ends sometime this year. I got a year for it. I saved like $20 or something on it whenever I got it. They had some deal, and I'm glad I got it because I enjoyed the Young Justice season. I'm enjoying the Harley Quinn show. Titans was kind of a bust. I mean, Titans is trying so hard to be edgy. I don't know did you watch Titans? It's trying so hard. You've seen the clip, the F Batman clip, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, that's the whole show. It's trying to be edgy, and it's just sad.
But I knew that going in. The trailer was sad to me.
Yeah, I mean, it had its moments. It had its moments, but not enough to make me.
Right. Every wrong clock is right once.
Yeah.
Day or something like that.
But I don't know if paying whatever it is, $70 a year for DC Universe is worth it for 2 shows when I can definitely wait for the DVDs.
Cancel
Let's see. Rainy T says, I just can't watch it. I can't watch anyone play anything about the end of the world or viruses right now. And he says, I had to stop watching Handmaid's Tale, which I've never seen. I know you have. Said it was good, but too depressing.
Well, when I'm at my store, sometimes I look at the shelves and I think this looks like scenes from The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh no.
You can't get shit,
Yeah.
And it's just, you're looking around and you're like, wow, so this is what that feels like.
Yeah, you go to a store nowadays and some days it's fine. See, usually when I go grocery shopping, I'll be on my break, and it'll be earlier in the morning, so there's not a ton of people in there, but it's still, they're trying to restock everything, and you won't be able to find this, and you won't be able to find that, and you'll have to go back later for this. So I can imagine, and yeah, I don't know if I could watch something like that or not. Probably not. I'm pretty picky with TV shows, so I don't know if I'd be able to watch it or not. But I know you said you had some trouble watching it, so
Harley Quinn.
No, Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, Handmaid's Tale. No, I mean, it just brings out that whenever I watch it, there's that I kind of let myself go.
Mm-hmm.
I let myself feel whatever I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And that show just gets to that one part of me, man, that just wants to yell, no. And it's pretty fun to just let myself off the chain every once in a while and just be like, man.
Well, with the Harley Quinn show, though, they're dealing with technically the end of the world because a bit of a spoiler alert. Harley Quinn at the end of season 1, Gotham basically gets destroyed. It's the Joker's base goes down and it causes like a 9.0 earthquake that just wrecks Gotham. So at the beginning of the season, the president of the United States says Gotham isn't a part of the U.S. anymore. You're on your own. So that's kind of how Gotham is right now in that cartoon. And Batman is missing. The Joker is missing. Commissioner Gordon is trying to he's trying to get, motivate his police, but they don't want to do anything. They end up becoming villains. And there's like 5 villains wanting to split Gotham into their own territories. And Harley just wants chaos until all the villains taunt her. And then she's like, now I'm taking over. And that's kind of the point of the whole season. And it's been pretty entertaining so far. And I love that series, though it's dealing with like something as depressing as the end of the world, it's just making total fun of it. And I'm having a good time watching. And I love that show. They don't. I'm okay with them messing with all the characters because they're doing it to everybody. Every character is off in that show. Jim Gordon is an alcoholic that totally relies on Batman. You have Bane is a silly version of Tom Hardy's Bane. He talks like this all the time. You can't understand. It's hilarious. So I'm really digging that show. As they're taking something that could be depressing and just making fun of it. So that kind of helps that they're not. I like that it doesn't take everything too seriously. Which at first it was bothering me the first couple episodes, but once you get into that show, it's totally worth watching. Again, I don't know if it's worth getting the DC Universe for a full year to just see it and Young Justice, because those are really the only 2 shows I've liked so far. Other than that, the live stuff, I haven't watched Doom Patrol, but Titans has been a bust. So,
Well, Doom Patrol, I reviewed the first season of, and it was so weird that I was mesmerized by it in a way. I didn't like everything about it, but I liked what they were doing. It was a lot of imagination that went into that show. Plus you get Alan Tudyk as this fourth wall breaking Mr. Nobody. He's Alan Tudyk, man. He's Alan frickin' Tudyk.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He chews so much scenery, but it's the best part of the show. You got Timothy Dalton as the guy that they're trying to find, their mentor, and Timothy Dalton's just fantastic as well.
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser swears too much. He's great, but that's the other problem we've talked about. I know you've talked about it on your channel, the swearing, trying to be so edgy.
Mm-hmm.
And when they cut back on all that stuff, it's like such a good show to watch. But I mean, as coming from somebody who swears, it's too much of that. And
yeah.
So take it, and I couldn't wait to finish reviewing it just so that I could be done with it. Like, I like it and I'd love to see more of it. And I hope that they learn some things. But like, when I was done, I canceled my DC Universe subscription because it just wasn't worth what I was paying for, when most of that stuff like Justice League, Batman, things like that, I'd rather just get the hard copy. I've been bigger into hard copies these days than digital.
Well, I know DC Universe was supposed to have a lot of the new animated movies, and they did do a couple, like whenever they came out or like right after they came out. They did. They had the Hush one is on there, and then like one or two others. But the rest of them, like I've been waiting for like Red Sun to
That's
pop
still
up.
not on there.
No, it is not on there, and I'm just like, come on, why am I paying for this? I honestly think they're gonna kill it, which it's not unfortunate because I know they said they're gonna have the new season of Doom Patrol on both HBO Max and DC Universe, and DC or HBO Max is supposedly getting that new the new Green Lantern show. So it looks like they're moving everything over to HBO Max. HBO Max is supposed to be doing some kind of Justice League Dark thing. So that kind of tells me that DC Universe might be kaput eventually. And I could see the Harley Quinn show going there too. That and Young Justice have to be the most successful things they got. Again, it wouldn't make me want to pay for HBO Max on a full-time basis. You know, I'll wait for the whole season to come out, pay for it for a month and watch it all, or I'll just wait for DVD.
I mean, for somebody like me who'd be like, man, I'm going to review all of this shit. It's a commitment.
Yeah.
So, like if I'm going to, timing, money, all that stuff. And are the shows any good anyway? That kind of deal. Like there's just too much out there. And I don't like doing this, but I predicted this, man, so freaking long ago that like first nobody wanted to listen to me about streaming services in the first place, like about 11 years ago. And then they became, now it's like the biggest thing ever. Yeah. And I said a few years ago, I said, you know what's going to happen? Everybody's going to have their own channel. Everyone's going to have their own channel.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Then it's going to just implode in on itself.
Yeah, and that's just it. I mean, there's a few things I'm just like, there's some things I can live without. There's going to be some things like I committed to the 3-year Disney deal because you got a year free, right? It was totally worth paying for it. I think I paid like $140 or something for 3 years.
Yeah,
totally worth it, especially since all the Star Wars and Marvel stuff that's going to be popping up on it.
A backup system.
Yeah, but things like, and then of course my kids just watch the crap out of it. Anything, my son, my youngest went through all of Ultimate Spider-Man, worth it right there. But he also started watching the 90s X-Men and things like that, getting to what he went through all of the 90s Spider-Man. It's made it worth the price of admission for me in like the first 2 months, right? Plus we get the Mandalorian, plus we're getting all the Marvel stuff.
Get him on some DuckTales, man, some Tailspin.
Yeah, we own some DuckTales and some Darkwing Duck and things like that. So they do dig those shows. And from what I understand, I know we're jumping off on a bit of a tangent here, but apparently either they've done it already or they're going to do it. Apparently Darkwing Duck is going to be on the new DuckTales. So it looks like they're going to be spinning off a new Darkwing Duck, and apparently they're doing the same thing with the Rescue Rangers as well. They're introducing them on the DuckTales show, which that's a pretty smart move if you think about it. Introduce. Yeah, and the new DuckTales show, I haven't got to watch a ton of it, but I liked everything I've seen so far.
It's good.
Yeah, what little bit I've watched, I've liked. I just haven't had time to sit down and watch it. And especially if they're introducing the Rescue Rangers and Darkwing Duck on there, I'm down for that. I was never a huge fan of Tailspin, but they introduced them too. Why not? Paul asks, is the Harley Quinn show based after The Killing Joke? The Harley Quinn show is its own thing. Yeah, they definitely established their own universe right away. It's just a ridiculous take on Gotham, and it's totally worth watching. Especially if you can get it on DVD. You don't need to get the DC universe to watch it right now. Find another way to watch it. Probably is your better bet. Don't pay for the whole year of DC universe to watch it, but it's totally worth watching. That's the best thing they've got, I think. So far.
Those animators working like 24/7 on that show for the turnaround they got between season 1 and 2.
It was only a few months, few months. Yeah. Which again tells me that the DC universe is dying because it's like, well, we better get this out.
Yep.
and it's going to be, I think, 13 episodes again, 12, 13 episodes again, and they're releasing them every week. So I have a feeling when it's over, they're going to start announcing that, well, this is moving to HBO Max, and that's moving, and that's moving, and I'll be waiting for my DC Universe subscription to die, I guess. But
the Birds of Prey failure isn't helping.
Oh, yeah. Did you go see Birds of Prey? I don't remember. Man, I actually really liked Birds of Prey. I mean, I hated the name of the movie. It should have been called Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, which I think they did end up renaming it. I dug the movie. I really enjoyed it, but the just the naming of it and everything it's like that's not going to help. And yeah, it had it.
There's a reason I didn't put that in my poll.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what would have happened if I put that in the poll. And
I don't know, man. If you were watching that for the 420 poll, you might have been quite entertained by that movie.
But Terminator Dark Fate did not disappoint in being terrible.
You know, I'll tell you this I'll talk about Dark Fate. I didn't hate Dark Fate, but here's the thing.
Either.
If Dark Fate would have been what they released instead of Genesis, we might not have had a problem, because at least they were continuing the story, where not trying to reboot it. Even though, yes, I know Dark Fate made Linda Hamilton's character alive again. They were just kind of doing like what Halloween did. It's like, well, just kind of ignore this stuff, right? Let's just pretend she didn't die of cancer in the third part. That's kind of all they did. You know, they just kind of rewrote history a little bit.
I said in my review that killing Linda Hamilton was the biggest mistake of the franchise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the one thing that angered me the most about the third movie. It was like, oh, let's just have a recording of her and that's it. She's dead. She's dead. Off screen, she's dead. You know, someone that is as awesome as that character dying of cancer is terrible. Yeah, and I was glad they brought her back, because, you know, when you saw the new Halloween movie, Jamie Lee Curtis, all I could think of was, oh, this is like old Linda Hamilton, you know, from Terminator, right? This is what I imagine this would be like. And then they announced that Linda Hamilton's coming back to Terminator. It's like, oh, cool, we're gonna finally get what Jamie Lee Curtis did in Halloween, but in the Terminator realm. And for me, it didn't disappoint. That was, of course, the best part of that movie was Linda Hamilton, you know, older Linda Hamilton, you know, just being, you know, just wrecking shop. You know, that was my favorite part. I mean, I had my issues with that movie, but I enjoyed it enough.
I thought Arnold was the best part of that movie.
Yeah, he was
I'm
awesome.
not an Arnold fan per se.
Well, and he was awesome too. Don't get me wrong. I do like how they concluded that character's arc. I thought it was a good way to go. I mean, you had to buy into the whole aging thing, but that fine, you know. Fine.
Well, yeah, I talk about the whole kills John Connor and just walks off. What do I do now? Like, you know, it just makes me think, like, is he sitting there dreaming, like, what do I do now that I killed my target? Like, just literally walking, just.
Yeah.
Like, it's suddenly the programming, like, it's so weird.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't it just self-destruct?
Yeah. Well,
go somewhere where, like, if it's about, like, not disrupting the time stream any further, it walks into the ocean and explodes. You know, right. Like, why leave the evidence around to be found?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it was, well, that's just it. You always wondered what would happen if a Terminator succeeded, right? Because all the movies we saw, they never did.
It's an interesting bit for the movie. Yeah. I'll give it that.
But yeah, and Arnold was cool in that too. I mean, the setup for the future, again, I wouldn't have had a problem with it if Genesis wasn't a thing. You know, it's like, why didn't you give us something like this before? Versus, oh, we need to rewrite history with new actors. You know, that just kind of drove me nuts. It's like, what's to stop the Terminators from going even further back? You know, it's, you know,
they'll never be able to recapture. Well, I mean, this franchise just needs to stop this story.
Mm-hmm.
Be done with it. Just be done with it. And because you know that they're never going to not make a Terminator movie, because then you lose the IP to anyone who wants to be able to use it.
Yeah.
If it goes to if it goes to like public domain, which nobody allows any IP to go to public domain. So we know that there's not going to be there will be another Terminator thing. It's just what are they going to do? And so that's why I said in my review, it needs to go back to basics, small, simple, intimate horror chase movie.
Mm-hmm.
My idea was to make the protagonist a narcissist who does not care about human life and is actually being chased down by one of these things, and has no problem with collateral damage.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Like I always hate that the hero is always just so no, why not have somebody who's like looking out for number one for once, who's like, I'm gonna die.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Kill whoever we got to go through to get me out of here.
Well, that's just it. With John Connor, and then eventually, I can't remember the new girl's name. The new quote unquote John Connor, the new savior.
I don't think you're going to have to remember her name.
I think they'll at least try to make another one. I really do. Will it happen? I don't know, but I think they'll at least try. I think just the John Connor character, the hero, the savior type character, just always has to have this crisis of conscience. It's like, the weight of the world's on my shoulder, but I have to do something about it. The way
doesn't always have.
No. I'm saying that's when they make these movies. That's what they feel like they have to do, right? So you're right. If you had a character, say, I don't care. I just want to survive for me. Yeah,
have somebody who's like out for their own interests.
Imagine if, you're right. Imagine if you had a character. Imagine if John Connor, they go back to, or even his mom, even Sarah Connor. Imagine if they go back in time to try to save her, and that changes her from wanting to, raise the savior of mankind. She's like, oh, they're going to keep coming after me. Well, I just need to survive for me. Why do I need to try to teach this kid anything? I'm just going to run.
Or it's called an abortion.
Oh, God. So that's where this stream's going.
No, I mean, wait, you mean that I'm going to give birth to the savior of humanity? But if that's the only thing keeping these things from coming at me,
Plan B. I don't know. I don't know if she were to do that, and then they sent somebody else, and that ended up being the father.
Did you ever see the Rick and Morty where they just something like that keeps happening, where no matter what they do, some new version of a Terminator comes through the hole, just boop, 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 boop.
You're gonna hate me, but I have never seen that show.
That's okay.
Anytime I say I've never seen that show, I get, what do you mean you've never seen that show? No, I just never watched it.
There's a lot of shit out there.
I'm sure I would dig it. I mean, it looks like something I'd enjoy, but do I want to invest that much time in something now? Not really.
All right.
I have enough problem watching the shows I want to watch.
Man, stacking up already.
Well,
this goes on, and the more people are putting things out, things are just stacking up. And I'm looking at I'm thinking of my schedule, and I'm like, well, that's just not going to happen.
Well, that's just it. I mean, I'm so far behind doing reviews for the Clone Wars and Harley Quinn. I've recorded 6 videos in the last couple of days. I'll be posting them over the next weekend and the week. Plus, I haven't watched today's episodes of Harley Quinn and the Clone Wars. Plus, I still got to do my review of Trolls. I'm going to watch the Chris Hemsworth movie on Netflix probably tonight. There's just so much to watch. Anyway, I haven't seen any of this season of Saul because I've really had no way to watch it. But then all of a sudden, AMC on the app, because of what's going on right now, they started releasing all the episodes for free, but they started at 4. They didn't have 1, 2, and 3 unless you paid for the service, but they started like 4 and however many there is after that. I'm just like, I'll wait for it to come out on Netflix or whatever. It's fine. You know, I dig that show, and I love Breaking Bad, and I love the Breaking Bad movie and everything, El Camino and all that. But I can wait. You know, there's not so many people at work that watch it that would spoil it for me. So, and you know, no offense, I haven't watched any of your reviews because I didn't want it spoiled for me. So, you know, I'm not going out of my way to avoid it, but I don't have much problem avoiding what's going on. And even if it does get spoiled for me, it's fine. You know, I'm not gonna be too mad, but I'll catch up on that one. I mean, I didn't watch Breaking Bad till it was over. So,
Really?
I mean, yeah, they had everything on Netflix but the second half of the last season when I started Breaking Bad.
I don't think I started until 3.
Okay. Well, that's really where that show started to pick up anyway. You know, the first couple seasons are good, but that show really kicked into gear in season 3 and on. I mean, the episode, what is it? The first episode of the second half of the last season, the first 10 minutes, say my name episode. I mean, that's like 10 minutes, some of the best moment, like some of the best 10 minutes of television ever is just that scene of him, establishing that, yeah, I am the man, and I remember when I watched that scene probably about 20 times, whenever I got to it. But, yeah, I love that show, but, and I've liked Saul so far. I'm not going to go out of I don't pay for cable or anything or satellite. So I'm not going to go out of my way to just for that one show. I don't get to watch enough shows as it is, to really invest in cable or anything. I don't have time to watch a lot of things. So, and I haven't even watched Tiger King. How dare I?
Don't worry. Oh, hey, I don't like it.
Really?
I can't watch it. I'm one of those people. Like, what was that? There was somebody else who was talking about it, and they were like, "Man, I couldn't get." Once I got to like episode 3, I was like, "Nope." Like I once I figured out what this was about, and what that was about, and what these people were about, and the fact that they were allowed to, I don't know, self-promote during this whole thing and get more like popular and be on the consciousness and be on the radar and be able to make money off of this, and being just awful people that I didn't want to know. I was like, no matter how weird it got in those first couple episodes, I was like, you know what? I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
And I have time to watch. I watch all sorts of nonsense, but I just was like, this is real. These are real people. And I was like, you know what? I don't care to know these people.
Well, that's just it. I enjoy like true crime stuff.
Oh yeah.
I'm real interested in like documentaries and stuff like that about things that have happened. I was checking out that Quibi app there for a while. And which is, it's kind of fun for free, but when they start charging, I'm definitely not paying for it.
Oh sure. This is like, the first one's free,
Yeah. Well, you get 90 days for free on that, which there's a couple, there's been well, once the show's complete, you can sit there and just watch the whole thing. Most Dangerous Game was kind of fun. Once it got completed, it reminded me of surviving the game in a way, so I enjoyed it. Some of the other shows haven't been so great, but they had a show on Quibi called Murder House Flip, and it was basically they go to houses that have true crime stories behind it, and then they flip them like a house flipping show. Otherwise, that
would be the most misleading title in history.
Well,
or it's just a murder house that actually flips.
Well, see, they had each episode is like 3 7 or 8 minute episodes, right? So it's like a half-hour show basically, for each episode. Well, the only interesting part was the first episode where they would talk about what happened at the house. After that, it's a house flipping show where they're improving it for the person that lives there, so they don't feel like they're living in a murder house. That's just how I felt. So it's just like, show me more of the true crime stuff. I want to see that. Which it makes me wonder if I would have liked Tiger King, but I just haven't been able to bring myself to watch it. There's so many other things I'd rather watch.
People can't help but watch it, and when that happens, when I hear that, people just can't help themselves. that's Kardashian territory, and I'm not going down that fucking road. So I said no.
Yeah. And that's just it. That's
I'm not letting that stupidity into my brain, no matter how weird it is. And I love weird.
Yeah.
I love weird. But
and that's just it.
I have discerning taste for my weird.
And I think that's
those people, and it's like, yeah, enough already.
I think that's what's partly keeping me from watching it is just like everyone's watching it.
Yeah.
Part of me just wants to go, I don't want to watch it just cause.
Yep. Everybody started watching This Is Us, and I'm like,
Yeah. The station I work for runs that show, and so I have to see promos for it all the time, and I have no desire. I watched a movie, and I can't remember the name of it, the movie was created by the guy that created that show.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie was terrible. So like really, really terrible. And so I'm just like, yeah, that makes me not want to watch that show even more.
Was that one with Oscar Isaac and Olivia Wilde?
Yes. I can't remember the name of it, but man, was that a stupid, weird movie. That was just, it was I don't remember. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen. Granted, there were worse movies. It was a well-made movie. It was a well-acted movie, but man, it was just a dumb movie.
Yeah, I think I remember your review of that.
But I can't remember the name of it. But it's like, I know I've seen worse. Trust me, I've seen worse. And especially as the year went along, I definitely had seen worse. But yeah, the person that created that show created that movie. And I'm just like, yeah, I know I probably wouldn't like that show since I didn't like this movie. If that's what that show is like, then I definitely don't want to watch the show if it's like this movie. Paul says Terminator was way better than Predator. I agree with that. Did you watch the new Predator?
I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it either. I didn't hate it as much as other people hated it, but I know I saw its flaws. But I didn't hate it as much as everybody else did.
Well, what's funny about that new Predator was it was basically almost the same thing as the new Independence Day. It was almost the same story. The let's take the fight to them now. The aliens are helping us now, trying to turn it into like an intergalactic thing. And they did it better than Independence Day did. But I didn't love it, but
I think it was also that there were so many people I really like in that movie, man. I really like Hal Holbrook and Thomas Jane and Olivia Munn and who else? Who else is in this? Is the guy that's running the show and Keegan-Michael Key. Like I like all these actors so much that I think I let their presence make it okay to like it a little bit more, even though, like I said, I see the flaws.
Yeah.
I just like those people so much, and it's like they're all in the same movie. It's one of those I just almost give a pass to, but I know what it is.
Well, sometimes the cast can carry a movie.
No.
I mean,
but I'll watch. It's one of those where I would be like, hey, you want to watch Predator? I'd be like, sure.
Me, I would still go back to Predators. I love that one.
Underrated, I think.
Oh, yeah, it should have gotten more attention. I'm still disappointed that, as much as I love Lawrence Fishburne, that should have been Arnold Schwarzenegger is the one hiding on the planet.
I had high hopes for that series.
Him or if it would have been Danny Glover, I would have been fine with that too. And I love Predator too. A lot of people hate that movie. I really love that one. It's not the original.
It's so grimy. You can feel it in a good way. Like it's just so hot and sweaty and just that you're just drenching that kind of LA hot and sweaty sucks, and just it's drenched in that. I love that.
Yeah, just that urban jungle feel was really cool, and it's just funny because in a way you just imagine it's Murtaugh fighting the Predator.
Somehow LA felt like the Middle East.
Yeah. Well, and I like that it showed it gave character development to the Predators. Because you had the Predator let the girl go because she was pregnant. It had the honor system at the end where it's like, well, we've got you outnumbered, but you beat our guy fair and square. Here's a trophy, and we'll be back, So it actually gave some character development. I mean, and I think, and a lot of people I don't think appreciated that, where they could have gone on with that storyline where Predators kind of did, which I liked. I mean, yeah, the Alien versus Predator movies are not good. I mean, the first one's Shakespeare compared to the second one, but it's still not good.
No, why these go so horribly wrong? Why they go so Resident Evil-y on them? By Resident Evil-y, I mean just the production just looks like such shit.
Yeah, well,
like it's barely above going direct to DVD in those movies, and these are like big special effects movies that demand like a real attentive eye, and somehow they just can't get it right.
I remember when I saw Alien versus Predator 2, what was it, Requiem, I think?
Requiem, like it needs that.
I remember when I saw that in the theater, I had some people mad at me in that theater because I was laughing so hard at it. I'm sitting there watching it, trying to hold back the laughter, and there's a scene where the girlfriend of the main character runs around a corner and gets impaled on the wall by the Pred alien, which cool idea at the end of Alien versus Predator, but in execution was terrible. You had an alien body with a big fat predator head with dreads, and it throws its weapon and impales her on the wall, and I lost it. I could not help but roll in the aisles, and the people were looking at me like, how dare I? How dare I laugh at this? Like, how can you not find this funny? How can you take this movie seriously? It's terrible. And to this day, I don't understand how anyone can take that movie seriously. If you like it, that's fine. But I wonder how. I wonder how you're getting enjoyment out of the movie other than to laugh at it. If you find it funny, I understand.
Sure.
If you think it plays a big part into the mythos of Aliens versus Predators, the video game did that better. The video game
had that new Predator game came out today, Hunting Grounds.
Oh, I didn't know they were releasing another Predator game.
Yeah, it's like $50 though.
Oh wow.
Or no, 40? Is it 40 or 50? Either way, it's like supposedly not even a complete full game, and they know it, so they didn't charge you 60. I was watching some guy play it. It's day one glitchy, but the graphics look all right. The premise is fine. I'm not big on multiplayer, so it's like lost on me. But
okay, yeah, I didn't even know.
Music in there, right? So you hear that classic Predator music playing.
Oh, that's cool.
But
let's see. Go to the chat here for a second. Paul says, "Heard they're making a One Punch Man movie. I've never seen that show."
Me either.
Let's see. And Rain T says he hopes it's not going to be a live action One Punch Man movie. And Rain T says Tiger King is a dumbfire. Those people are horrible. I still like the show though. I know a lot of people are getting enjoyment out of it. I just don't know if I'll ever bring myself to be able to watch it. Let's see. Paul says, are there going to be a Sea Fever review? I have no idea what that is. You have any idea what Sea Fever is?
I was trying to figure out what Sea Fever was, unless there's a different translation. It means the lighthouse. Oh,
that's an insane movie. You saw The Lighthouse, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That would have made an interesting 420 review.
Oh man.
I will say that I can imagine how crazy that one would get.
Well, we've still got some cool stuff coming for that. I mean, I'm not embarrassed. Like Slither, I'm gonna have to do something special for, because this is one of my absolute favorite movies. I don't know if we might continue these reviews into next month, but we're definitely still we're doing Natural Born Killers.
Okay. That's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, we're doing Natural Born Killers. We're doing both. We're going to do back-to-back, like one big episode for Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bogus Journey at the same time. Those are a couple that are coming up before the end, because we've got like about a week before the end of the month. And so I'm trying to get some really good ones out there. Unfortunately, a lot of people just keep thinking that I'm only doing movies that are about people that smoke pot.
Right.
It's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not watching How High or Friday or Half Baked. Those are all funny movies on their own, but they don't, just because people spoke in them doesn't mean, or are baked doesn't mean that that's fun for me to watch.
You're just looking for the weirdness.
Yeah, like this
does it enhance the
or
weirdness?
make something better, or maybe it makes it worse. Who knows? That's what I was going for. So some people have been like, "Well, it's about time." It's like, well, no, man, that's just how this goes. So,
I had a fun suggestion for you.
yeah, you said UHF, and I want to do it.
There's that one. I came up with a new one though because of some of the scenes that are in it. Freddy's Dead, Nightmare on Elm Street 6, because it goes 3D near the end of the movie. They do a whole thing, and I remember seeing it in the theater with my mom, who loves horror movies, and my grandma, who didn't. She just went with us because my dad and my grandpa and my brother were hanging out, and so then me and my mom wanted to go see Freddy 6, and so my grandma just went along, and they did 3D where they gave you the red and blue 3D glasses.
Oh no.
They had some weird scenes in that for the 3D parts, plus some of the dream sequences would be very interesting, which I've never partaken, but I imagine if you did, it would be an interesting watch. Especially the video game scene might be kind of fun, because the guy in the movie is getting stoned, and In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida starts playing, and it just gets weirder from there. So that might be a fun movie as well to check out for your 420 reviews. I thought that would be an interesting watch, especially when that movie.
I've been getting inundated, but that definitely, like, I hope if there's another one, remind me of that one, because I am going to try to fit UHF in for sure, because I think that's available with Prime.
I believe so.
I don't know why. Like, I look at some of these movies, I go, I used to own them. What happened?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, UHF, man.
Yeah, that one I think would get weird.
We're hitting a lot of my nostalgia. We're hitting a lot of like shit that means stuff to me, man. Like UHF, holy cow, that came out. I instantly travel back to like 1987, 1988.
Yeah,
in my head.
Yeah,
I am there right now.
I'm telling you, that is one movie that if I'm ever in a bad mood, I can turn that movie on and thank God for Weird Al, because that is one movie that can just snap me out of a bad mood. If I have time to sit down and watch it and watch all the stupid commercials and all the stupid fake TV shows and everything that's in that, and especially since I work in TV now, that makes it even funnier, because there's some people in that movie that I've worked with people like them.
Yeah.
That movie just makes me laugh every time. Weird Al is someone that can snap me out of a bad mood. And I love that movie for it, because there's been so many times I'm just like, okay, I can sit down and I can laugh for 2 hours, hour and a half, however long it is, and it'll just snap me out of my mood. So yeah, that's, and some of the weird stuff that happens in that movie. Yeah, I'm sure you're going to have fun with that one. I hope so. I hope you do have fun when you're doing your 420 review of that.
Yeah. Spatula City.
I even got this. I showed my kids that movie and they were giggling the entire time, and they don't even know. They barely even knew who Weird Al was. My sons knew who Weird Al was because I played the Jurassic Park song for one, and then I played the Star Wars song for the other. I would find stuff that they like and play them a Weird Al song of it. And though I won't let my son listen to The Night That Santa Went Crazy, I don't think they're ready for that one yet. I don't think they'd understand yet. But that was their introduction to Weird Al. Plus, Weird Al does voices for Disney now. He did some stuff on Gravity Falls, and he does Milo Murphy's Law, and I believe he did some Phineas and Ferb as well. So that's like my kids' introduction to Weird Al, and I'm like, listen to this guy's voice when we watched UHF. Listen to this guy's voice, and my son was instantly like, "That's Milo Murphy." That's right, son. That's Milo Murphy. Enjoy, and they enjoyed the whole movie, and they may not have understood everything, but
there's a lot of like imagination and quick. It's a quick and fast movie. It doesn't slow down.
Well, it's just so ridiculous. I mean, they may not understand why he's playing with the mashed potatoes, but
Yeah.
it's still funny to them because he's playing with his food. Him getting squashed by the boulder and then it turning into a hamburger. They lost it. And that's
Yeah.
at the beginning of the movie, and they were hooked from the beginning of that movie on. And so, again, that's just a movie I love.
Conan the Librarian.
Yeah. Do you know the do decimal system? That line still cracks me up every time. And that is such a fun movie to play in slow motion.
Yeah.
Like to see like when they use puppets and things and when they use dummies, because that scene where he splits the guy in half, the dummy is so bad.
Yeah.
Like when you see the still of it is so bad. When they blow the guy up in the Rambo scene, all those are so bad.
Yeah.
Like such bad effects, but they are so amazing because just it's Weird Al doing it.
But yeah, but also practical effects are just fun because it's something that somebody made, and we always like to just see shit blown up. We always know when something fake looking gets blown up, it just still looks fake.
Yeah.
If something real blows up, even if it doesn't look great, we still blew something that we actually made up.
Part of me wants to not watch the Hemsworth movie tonight on Netflix and just watch UHF instead. You watched the Hemsworth movie, right?
What's it?
You watched the new Hemsworth movie on Netflix.
I reviewed it real quick.
That's right.
This morning. I watched it first thing. I mean, the most interesting thing about it, outside of like Hemsworth, Netflix, Russo brothers, is that Sam Hargrave is a stunt guy that directed it from Avengers, Infinity War, Endgame, Civil War. So all those cool action sequences that all our favorite characters were doing is this one of these? This guy's one of those people that put all that together. So the action and the stunts in this are superhero movie level cool. Sometimes like there's moments where I like right at the beginning, I was just like, man, this could easily turn into like military John Wick. It doesn't go that far. It doesn't go that far. But Chris Hemsworth is fantastic in it. But the story's kind of bare bones. You kind of know where it's headed. But when there's action, you're fully invested.
Yeah,
some of the slow parts I didn't during some of the lulls I kind of tuned out a little bit, but it's still worth it. And if this was at the theaters right now, with what there would have been out at the theaters right now, for the most part, this probably would have been one of the best movies out right now.
Okay,
considered like this is a really good popcorn movie, but at the same time, it's kind of got a little bit of an edge to it, a little bit of. There's a couple of moments. There's some moments in here, man. Because now that it's R-rated, they can do a lot more violent stuff, and Chris Hemsworth gets to fudge some people up pretty good.
Well, see, I was afraid that it's produced by the Russo brothers, like 21 Bridges was, and I was afraid, even though I enjoyed that movie enough, I was afraid it was going to be like 21 Bridges, where it's just like too predictable.
It's really predictable.
Where you're enjoying it enough and it's fine to watch. Granted, I've got my subscription already, so I'm not really paying for it per se. So that's probably going to help too. Okay, let me ask you this without spoiling anything, because I don't want to be spoiled. But I've noticed that a lot of these Netflix movies, the ones that aren't based on real life anyway, they're trying to sequel bait every single one of them. Does this one sequel bait?
No.
Oh, really? Good. Because I noticed that on just about everything they've come out with that is like something original that they've made, like Coffee and Kareem, for example. They want to make more, the movie was funny enough, but I don't know if I'd want to watch another movie with these characters, even though they really want you to.
Making, right?
What's that?
They were making Bright Part 2, right? So
yeah, and I didn't hate Bright. I think I was more into the world versus the story itself, because I've always dug like the idea of the fantasy world, in our world kind of story.
It's got a good premise.
Yeah, the execution wasn't the greatest. But I liked Bright enough that I would watch another one. Apparently, they're talking about making 3 or 4 of those, which I don't know if they'll make another one. I understand they're still trying to make a second one, so we'll see if they do. But yeah, I can't remember. There's some other movies that I watched on there that they tried to sequel bait it, and even movies that had no real reason to have sequels. I watched The Platform. And in a way, just a little bit on that one, they sequel baited a little bit. And it's like, this movie does not need a sequel. I mean, I enjoyed it enough for what it was. But they were just like, they left little tiny bits here and there where it's like, you could do more with this. And it's like, don't do this for everything you have. And there were some other ones. I just can't remember what they are off the top of my head, that it's like, here's another movie. By the way, we're going to leave this part open just in case we want to make more. And I know that's what Netflix is trying to do, because if they have something that really connects with people, they're going to be like, well, we can get these guys again and they'll do another one. But it's like, why don't you just make the movie and then come up with a decent premise to bring them back versus, oh, it was Spencer Confidential. Spencer Confidential was the other one where, I mean, half that movie was sequel bait. It's like, we're setting up these stories for later. Why is the girlfriend in this? Oh, so we can have a story with her later. Why is this in this? So we can have that later, which I would watch another one of those. I was entertained by Spencer Confidential enough. It was fun. And I like the characters enough, but do I really have to have a sequel to that movie? Not really. But if they can get Mark Wahlberg back with Winston Duke again and Alan Arkin, I'm fine with that. I enjoyed the characters. So, but you don't have to sequel bait everything. So I was afraid that we were going to get this Chris Hemsworth movie and they were going to be like, and they left it open. So we're going to have another one. So I'm glad they didn't do that because it seemed like they were doing it with everything. And that was driving me insane.
Yeah. Did you see that one called The Last Thing He Wanted with Anne Hathaway and Ben Affleck?
The last on Netflix?
Yeah.
No, I did not. What was that one?
I can't remember if it was supposed to be based on a true story or not. I felt like it was. Like, that just was like one of those movies that wants to be Oscar bait but knows it really shouldn't be. Anne Hathaway plays a breast cancer survivor who is a reporter down in Latin America back in like the late 70s, early 80s. And she gets pulled out of a place because they're going to be killing everybody there. And she spends the whole rest of the movie trying to get back there and also helping her father, who's played by Willem Dafoe, who's actually really good in it.
When is he not, though?
Yeah, like he's got this, like he's kind of a sleazeball. He's like a gun runner because this is all around this is like around Nicaragua,
okay.
Contra, blah blah blah, gun running down in the 80s, and he's running guns, and she's like reporting, and she gets involved, and like I don't want to spoil it, but it was horrible. It felt like at the end of the movie, I felt like I had just wasted so much time of my life that I couldn't get back, that I was just like, like people there's like torture porn movies. I think shows like This Is Us. There's just like drama porn, like disaster porn or drama porn, or like we're just like so seeped in like awfulness that you're like, who enjoys watching this? Like, who leaves the theater going, thank God I saw this. This is one of, and even though it's like a Netflix original, it made me want to just turn the TV off, crawl into bed, and like, I don't care what time it would have been. If it was like 9 a.m, be like, I'm done.
Yeah,
done
day's over.
That was such bull crap that I just watched.
Yeah. By the way,
just doesn't know. They're not just making these. I feel like a lot of these Netflix movies are not Netflix originals. They're things that they shop around and they buy, and people that eat, like just because somebody's famous doesn't mean that every movie they make is going to be good. So they don't have somewhere to buy it. especially if they're like done independently. So it's like Netflix goes to shows and picks like the stuff that nobody else bought already, and then puts it out there. And just because like they try to sell us on these big stars doesn't mean jack.
Yeah.
Like think about stuff that people just didn't work and are just sitting there.
Yeah.
Waiting for somebody to distribute it that probably shouldn't be, distributed. That's what a lot of Netflix movies feel like.
Yeah. By the way, Rainy T had to leave us, so thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Sorry, Rainy T. Thanks, man.
Thanks for joining us. And Paul says that Sea Fever is an Amazon horror movie that it's on there, so have to look into that. Yeah, the Netflix movies, they started getting some Oscar looks, and now they're trying, they're getting that Oscar fever. You're right. They're definitely part of me thinks they're trying too hard on some of them. And it's like, look, yeah, we know you got some attention. We're happy for you, but not everything needs to be Oscar material. Just give us some good fun movies. Sea Fever. Yeah,
Solitary marine biology student Siobhan endures a week on a ragged fishing trawler where she's miserably at odds with the close-knit crew, but out in the deep Atlantic, an unfathomable life forms ensnares the boat.
Interesting.
Let's see who's in this. Connie Nielsen. That's crazy. Hermione. No, it's Hermione Corfield. Okay. She was born in '93, and somebody was named Hermione. Rogue Nation, Rust Creek, Last Jedi. Never heard of her. Doug Ray Scott has been putting out some pretty stinky movies and shows lately. Everybody else, I don't know who any of them are. I don't know. Okay, that's definitely a directed DVD movie.
Yeah.
And if it comes to a streaming service, maybe. But no.
Oh, so it's not on Prime. It's
you gotta buy this thing.
Yeah,
rent or buy.
Especially a lot of these theater at home movies, the ones that were before things started happening and they were doing theater at homes, they still want you to pay $6, $7, $8 for like one that isn't going to be in a theater near you, but you still might want to see it. So pay $8 and we'll let you rent it. But now, of course, they're doing this. They just released Trolls and which never made theaters. And then now apparently Warner Brothers is going to release that Scoob movie.
Artemis Fowl is going right to Disney Plus.
Yeah. But that Scoob movie, they're going to do something smarter than they did with Trolls. See, Trolls, they wanted you to pay $20 to rent it for 2 days, right? Where I had some credits, so I didn't pay $20 when I watched it. But the Scoob movie, they're going to do $20 to rent it, $25 to buy it. So at least they're giving you the option to buy it. To where if your kids do like it, they can watch it all they want past the rental day. Because I'm telling you, I know they try to make the argument that this $20 price tag is okay. Because, you would pay $50, $60 when you go to the theater to take your family. What about those of us that go to movies by themselves, by yourselves? I don't pay $20. Heck, I had the AMC card. I wasn't paying anything, so it's hard for me to swallow a $20 movie every time. I'm in a way, part of me is glad that they're not releasing everything at home. I was afraid that they were going to start releasing everything at home. At least for the time being. I know they didn't want to lose money on like things like Wonder Woman and all those, but they still could have. They could have said, look, we'll let you rent it for a week for $30, and people would have done it. and I was afraid that's where it's going to go. I didn't want to pay, to review all the new movies. I did not want to pay $20-$30 for everything. Every now and then I can, I don't mind, especially if it's something my kids can watch. But for me to want to see some of these new movies at home, I'm glad I saw everything that, like, you have The Way Back and Call of the Wild and all those pulled up behind you. I had seen all those in theaters already. So thankfully I was caught up whenever I got to all those. And the only one I've paid for so far, other than the postcard killing, which was like $7, I think, and I paid like $2 because I had credits. Trolls is the only one I paid for, just to give me something new to review. But I'm glad they're not doing this with everything. That would have broke me. And I probably just wouldn't have done it. I would have just waited until, everything came out, instead. I would have waited. And I noticed that with the Harley Quinn movie, the Birds of Prey movie, they tried to get people to pay $20 for that, and nobody did. They took it down to $6, and it did well, right? So
they took it down to $6.
Last I heard, it was down.
Or was this when it was in theater purchase?
Well, see, this was not too long ago, because it pretty much had its full run in theaters. And they took it down, and they may have put it back up, but they had taken it down from like $20. They tried to charge $20 for like a week, and I guess no one was buying it. No one was renting it, and it's like, oh, we'll do $6 or $7, and then it was like leading the pack, because like that's a reasonable rental price. If it's been out in theaters already, people are not going to want to pay $20 for it. No way. And I can understand that. But again, I wouldn't have paid $20 for Trolls either. But, my kids didn't even really want to watch it. I told they were like, yeah, we can watch it. And then I was like, let's go watch it. Nah, we don't want to.
Yeah.
It's like, kids, I've already paid for this. And then of course I watched it on my own. It was like the first one. It was fine. It was definitely built from the album up. The story was pretty generic, but it was fine. And I remember I had to go back and watch my review of the first one. I'm just like, what did I think of the first one? It's like, oh yeah, Strange Magic came out before that, which made me enjoy Trolls more, because it was, Strange Magic was so bad. And Trolls was like it, but it was, at least the songs were better and the animation was better. It's like, you're a better version of that. And this one was fine too. But my biggest issue with the new Trolls movie was the rockers were the bad guys. It's like, you're making me root for the bad guys here, movie. They're singing songs. And of course, every song that the rockers sang, I liked. It was at least.
So basically, they're saying their music is better than rock music. Like, what kind of?
Well, see, the rockers were like trying to take over. We want the whole world to just be rock, right? And it's like, oh, good, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Problem.
Well, this is the first movie that I live tweeted things out on. Which I'm not going to really do again, because it's like, how do people live tweet movies? Because how can you pay attention to the movie while you're trying to think of clever things to say on Twitter? But anyway.
Yeah, right.
But just as I was watching that movie, it's like they have a scene where the main character's like, we need to hit him with the greatest music ever. And it's like the Spice Girls and Who Let the Dogs Out and like Good Vibrations and like two others, Gangnam Style, or however you say it, was one of them. And that LMFAO song, that big one they had, those are like the 5 songs they played. I'm like, really? These are the greatest songs in the history of songs? No.
Yeah. It's like, well, there was something I said in one of my videos where it's just, once you hit a certain age, you stop becoming relevant in the decision makings of movies and stuff, and we're not the demographics anymore, and it's just, you have to sit through it if you're You just have to sit through the stuff that you know is stupid and is a fad. And there'll be those moments the kids go, man, I can't believe I like this.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And then there'll be like another 10 years, they'll go back on what they said and said, no, it was so nostalgic, it was so bad, it was good. And everybody goes through all those things because, I mean,
that's just it, though.
We have to sit through it.
I get that we're not the demographic anymore. I mean, neither of us are getting any younger, but that's just it, though. There's still animated movies out there that challenge us. Yeah. Look at most of the stuff that Pixar does. Even, I liked Onward fine. It was a decent movie. A lot of people are chalking it up to being like another Pixar's Good Dinosaur. I thought it was better than Good Dinosaur.
It's better than Good Dinosaur.
Even though I saw Good Dinosaur twice in theaters because my son wanted to go see it, and he didn't go with me the first time. And once you understand what you're watching a dinosaur Western, it's better. You kind of realize, oh, that's supposed to be this and that's supposed to be that. It's a better movie. It's still not a great movie, but even at their worst, Pixar movies are still at least try to challenge you in some way, shape, or form. So there's still kids movies out there that do have some adult themes. I mean, it's hard for me to get through Inside Out, without feeling sad, right? So there's still kids movies out there that challenge us. But then again, there's plenty of kids movies out there, especially anything that Illumination comes out with, especially that don't challenge us anymore. That they're just there to make noise and entertain kids for a couple hours, which is unfortunate, but hey, it's the way of the world, I guess. Paul asked, is Pixar still going to release Soul in June? I don't think so. I think they pushed it back.
I mean, that's just speaking about pushbacks. I mean, I'm trying to figure out how theaters come back from this. I haven't watched or read any articles or anything like that. I mean, especially places that were already on the cusp of of closing, then this happens. It's just, you can say that about a lot of businesses, but since we're talking about entertainment stuff, I mean, like conventions and things like that, like most conventions are canceled. Like the big San Diego Comic-Con's canceled, but like Wizard World in Chicago, man, still sounding like they're going full steam, and that's in August.
Yeah, well, I think Wizard World St. Louis is supposed to happen, at least as of right now. And that happens before Chicago. Have you seen what Wizard World's doing now?
No, I haven't been to the website in a little bit.
They're doing what's called
going once this started.
They're doing what's called like the virtual convention, where they're getting a lot of talent. Part of me likes this, part of me doesn't. They're getting a bunch of talent from like certain shows and everything. And they're doing like live streams, and you can ask questions and things like that throughout the live stream. Now, also the thing I don't like that they're doing is they're still selling autographs, where you can order autographs from these people, which of course I didn't get to meet that person. It's fun to buy an autograph, fine, whatever. Like, say if you met someone, but they weren't doing an autograph signing, fine, buy the autograph. But I'm not getting to meet the people other than over a screen. They're also, which would be kind of cool if they weren't charging the prices they were charging. They're doing like where the people will do a personal message for you, which if the prices were a little lower, that would be cool. But they're still charging like full convention prices for this stuff. You're not getting a picture with the person. You're not getting to meet them in person. I mean, the idea of them doing the live streams and the Q&As and stuff is cool. I like that. But them selling the autographs and stuff, it just kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit. Though it'd be kind of neat to get someone do a soundbite for you, for your channel or whatever. I even like the idea of that Cameo thing that's out now, but I thought about doing some of those for the channel. Like if I'm doing a specific video, buy the Cameo of someone promoting the video, right? But some of the prices on like that Cameo thing are darn ridiculous. I thought it was going to be fun. I was going to get Lester Spate, who is Coltrane from Gears of War, to do something for the channel, which would be kind of fun, right? It's like $300, $250, $300 for like a 2-minute video. No, if it were a lot cheaper, I'd consider it, but not for, I mean, like Ric Flair's on there and he's like $500. It's like, how can you charge this stuff right now? How can you charge that, especially right now with the way things are going? And granted, they are giving some money to charity, but man, some of the prices are still ridiculous. So yeah, some of the conventions are doing virtual conventions, but yeah, Wizard World seems like they're still going to try to be on. I'm a little disappointed. Indiana Comic Con, they have a date in July, I think it's June or July, and it's like, are they going to have to reschedule again? I can't go now because it's on a weekend. I can't go, and I had something big planned for that. I was going to do an interview with someone. I had it set up. I was going to do an interview with someone that is my favorite in something. It was going to be such a big deal for me, and now I can't go. Which the mean part of me, the mean selfish part of me hopes that they have to reschedule it again. But, for people that want to go, I hope this is over and they get to go and everything. That's really what I want. But the mean selfish part of me is like, I kind of hope that they have to reschedule again and it's a weekend I can go and I can do the thing I wanted to do, because that's just that little selfish part of me. But I don't know. I don't know if that stuff's going to be back in June. I mean, we both live in Illinois. They just extended everything till the end of May. You know, my kids' school, I have to teach them school until it's over. So who knows where all this stuff's going to go convention-wise and everything. Yeah, with San Diego Comic-Con getting canceled, that was a big one. But then
yeah, again, I was looking for Tool concert tickets for Madison, Wisconsin, and that's canceled. And that's like June 9th or something like that.
Yeah, I was
scheduled any of that stuff. So I mean, this is like a huge, like, think about how small potatoes the writer's strike feels now. Mm-hmm. Back in like 2000, what was that, 2007, 2008 era, like the winter of 2007 and 8. How we're still feeling like how long the effects of that went on. Yeah. And ruined shows, movies, just threw stuff off their axis, plot lines were lost, things were just, it was fucked up. It ruined good shows, good movies, bad movies. And that was just a stupid writer's strike.
Yeah.
Not that writers are stupid, but just, so think about what this is doing.
Yeah, how bad it's going to mess everything up.
Production costs, forget about the box office, but like coming back from this and dates getting pushed back and all that other stuff and juggling, and for like people still wanting to talk about that stupid New Mutants movie. Let it die. Let it fucking die like it deserves in the streets to never be mentioned ever again. Maybe, people can buy it. Just sell that stupid. I heard there's a thing that they actually can't just sell it. They have to air it. They have to put it at the theaters or let it die. And I say, just let it die. We don't have to see everything. Do you really want another X-Men franchise ruined? I know I'm like suddenly jumping off into a tangent on it, but it's like, because I know we started in one spot and here we are, but
I got a buddy at work that was totally looking forward to that movie. And I admit, after the very first trailer forever ago, I thought it looked interesting. But then, of course, after seeing the Phoenix movie and all that, it's just like, just go. So anytime there's a delay on it or anything else, I have a good chuckle at work.
Yeah, it's funny, but it's just like, stop talking about it. It's like, don't give it attention. I thought we were past it.
It's eventually going to get in theaters, and see, part of me just wishes they could just put it on Disney Plus and get it over with. Yeah. Right. Just get it on there just so it's done and done. Right.
Yeah, and they can't. All the policies about why they can't do it.
Yeah. And I mean, how many times they pushed that movie back? 5,700.
The girl who plays Arya looked like a little girl. Look at it. She looked like she was like in season 4 or 5 of Game of Thrones when they filmed that.
Yeah, I remember. What was it? The trailer looked the trailer looked like a horror movie, but that's not what the movie really was. But people liked the fact that it looked like a horror movie so much that they went back and filmed more, and then they took it back again, and then they took it back again, and they delayed it again. It's I have really no desire to see it other than just to see what a crap show it's going to be.
I don't want any more ruined versions of characters that I really like.
Yeah.
So sick of it. Because you got like Jubilee in there, Magic. There's supposed to be Mr. Sinister. You got freaking Sunspot, Wolfsbane, Cannonball. Like all these people I like, and it's just like, you know what? I'd rather not. I'd just rather not. Thanks.
Yeah, I wasn't big time connected to a lot of those characters, but I really was just curious to see how hard they were going to try to force it into the newest X-Men universe.
I don't think they were really going to do it at all.
I don't know. I had a feeling they were going to try. They were going to do something to try. Like it was going to be the now version, right? Like we finally
did the movie.
What's that?
Maybe something near the end of the movie where
kind of like they did.
You think it is
kind of like they did with the Wolverine, how they connected it to Days of Future Past at the very end, right? Just something like that.
Freaking post-credit scene, so you had to wait. If they were going to try to do it, they'd have to put it in a regular movie. And I mean, Mr. Sinister, like they don't understand how to introduce anybody's characters or start an arc or everything. Everything is always so haphazardly thrown together in the X-Men movies, I feel like. Yeah. Even the good ones, they just kind of go, just do it. Like they give you the bare bones because why bother making you think about the motivations of one of these characters, things like that. That's one of the things I feel like is really missing in all the X-Men movies. Besides Wolverine, there really has never been, to me, a completely fleshed out character that not even Xavier or Magneto. I mean, Magneto maybe a little bit more. It would probably be second place. But most of the characters are just so far underdeveloped that you just don't feel anything for them.
Well, Days of Future Past, or I'm sorry, First Class was basically supposed to be, a lot of that movie was supposed to be the next X-Men Origins movie, because the next X-Men Origins movie was supposed to be Magneto. Yeah. And so you could see a lot of influence. I mean, I liked First Class a lot. I mean, there's some things I didn't, but anyway, the X-Men movies, I mean, I enjoy a lot of them, but I do have my issues with them as well, especially with a lot of these new ones, how the characters haven't aged at all, over 3 decades, which kind of, it's like, oh, in 10 more years, James McAvoy is supposed to be Patrick Stewart, So I always thought that was kind of funny.
People just don't change that much.
Yeah. I definitely, I want to acknowledge that Bill and Daniel have joined the chat.
Yeah, I keep forgetting to say, what's up, Bill?
It's, if you're in the chat, if you're watching the video, if you don't want to comment, that's cool, but just let us know you're in the, that you're watching the video. That way we can acknowledge you're watching. We're just shooting the crap right now. But so other than the 420 reviews, what do you got coming up on your channel, man?
To be honest with you, kind of now that Better Call Saul's over, I'm kind of scrambling to think of other things to do. But at the same time, I'm kind of like glad that I can just maybe work on these 420 reviews for a little bit longer. Otherwise, I mean, we're eventually going back to regularly scheduled programming. It's just everything feels like I said it like way back. I think maybe not even when we were recording, is that this whole thing has got me kind of feeling different about what I was making, how I was making it, like everything's changed. Like the way I think about stuff has changed, and so when the work was feeling like work, I wanted to stop. And when this maybe ends, maybe I'll go back to everything being normal on the channel. Maybe that this is literally the new normal, and I'll just get over it and I'll put out my own content again. But I've got I'm desperately trying to get to the dream team of shows to review, of like where it's just like these slots of like, we're covering this till the end, these
Mhm.
shows till the end. But now it's like, I kind of feel like I have to start finishing things before I can get to them. Other
Yeah.
than that, just more of the same, trying new things, always experimenting with making how to make videos and stuff. I'm still so bad at so many things, and there's nobody, to really help me out. That's
Yeah.
that's really all.
Yeah, I can tell you there's so many.
Back, but DC's like basically found somebody to produce their comics.
Yeah.
Um, that's a story that's going on right now.
Yeah. Well, me, there's so many things I've wanted, so many shows I've wanted to sit down and watch and talk about. I bought the complete series again. This is the second time I've bought it of Homicide Life. Yeah, well, when you're strapped for cash and you have $100 box set of Homicide Life on the street sitting on your shelf, right? You need the money, you have to get rid of it, right?
Oh man, that's such a good show.
But then thankfully I was able to find the entire thing again in a smaller package, and it even had the Law and Order crossover episodes, which are awesome because it sucks watching that show when you can't watch the crossover episodes. So I found the complete series again for like nothing. So I was so happy. It's like, oh, good. Even though I got rid of it and got a decent amount of money, I've got it back and I barely had to pay anything for it. But I wanted to sit down and watch that again. But it's like, who has the time to watch? Was that 7, 8, 9 seasons?
Man,
It's amazing television, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
fun, and it's so 90s, and I love it. But and that was one of those shows
It
I
was
watched.
like setting the stage for like nobody's been able to do it. Like the like that game and then The Wire, and I don't think anybody's touched either of those shows.
Yeah,
As
and
far as like,
that's one I've never seen The Wire, and I always wanted to go and watch it. But again, who has the time?
yeah,
I've always tried to keep
Time.
finishing. I should be able to finish this one. I've always wanted to finish Band of Brothers. I only get so far into it, and then I something comes up, and I don't have time to watch it, and it's like
I did that with Band of Brothers and my dad. I tried to get through that with him, and just life gets in the way.
Yeah,
There's too much. We're drowning in content right now. It really is.
yeah.
Like just too hard to pick what we're gonna do sometimes.
Yeah, that makes me think that I know you do a lot of episode by episode reviews. I didn't really start doing that until The Mandalorian, and then now I do it for Harley Quinn and the Clone Wars. I'm glad the Clone Wars is only going to be one. There's only going to be one season, and then it's done. And I don't have to do any more. When Harley Quinn's done, I'm probably not going to do any more episode by episode things except for The Mandalorian.
Well, I've cut back on that. Like I
Huh?
said, I'm not doing anything that's streamable. All episodes at once, forget it.
Yeah.
Forget it. I'm done with that. So like Ozark season 3 came out, and I probably could get a lot of views. I could probably get a bunch of subs.
Yeah.
But it's just too much to try to do and be relevant, do a bingeable show.
Yeah.
So it's week-to-week shows, and that's it, or one season review.
Yeah. See, I'd rather do the whole season reviews. Yeah, I'd rather do the whole season reviews. It's just, I sit down, I watch it all, I give my thoughts on the entire season. Did I think this character arc worked? Did I think that character arc worked? That's what, I was going to do episode by episode of The Witcher, right? There wasn't very many, but I was like, oh, I can do all these. And I watched a couple episodes and I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm just doing one. I just can't do it. The episode by episode thing.
In retrospect, I wish I had just done one.
And like I said, trying to catch up on just 2 shows episode by episode is killing me, so I'm going to definitely just only do one at a time and let the other season just go and then do a full season review of something else. The Mandalorian is probably the only one I'm going to stick with, doing episode by episode because I like it so much. I say that, and then of course the Marvel stuff's coming out too, and I'll probably want to do it for them too. So I'll probably eat my words then, but anyway.
Here's a segue. Did you ever watch Parks and Rec?
I did not, but I heard they were doing something special.
We're reviewing that on the channel on the 30th.
Nice.
They're doing an episode, an original news story from home of Parks and Rec on the 30th, and I am
nice.
I was smiling so big. That is just like the best news I've ever gotten. Parks and Rec is my jam.
Yeah.
Again, it's like, oh man, I haven't felt like that since, like, God. I don't know. I'm excited to do that.
It's
That's a lot.
if I'm not mistaken, it's like a charity thing too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which that's even see. Here's the thing. I like this idea, right? I like them coming out with an original show to make some money to help people. I'm cool with that. I'm glad they're just not doing it like Stars trying to save the world,
Yeah.
just by singing us a song, right?
That stuff that some of the people have been doing, so it's kind of starting to wake some people up into, like, maybe how much we put on celebrities as far as, like, how much we look up to them, because it's just, some of it's great, like you said, charities for helping people out. Some of it's just like,
well, if they're just trying to do it to like right,
life.
well, let's just say right now people need to laugh, right?
Yeah.
Because I've told people at work, it's like if I don't laugh my way through this, I'm just going to be depressed all the time. And so I like, like Ryan Reynolds is out there just being silly through this entire thing. Plus, he's trying to help raise money. Even better. John Krasinski, I haven't got to watch any of the stuff, but he's doing like his good news thing, just trying to put some fun stuff out there for people. But then you got, as much as I like Gal Gadot, her trying to save the world singing the Beatles songs, right? It's like, come on.
That already is, like, in this, since things are moving so fast right now, that's like 3 weeks old, 4 weeks old already, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
It's already like where we are now. It feels like a year ago that came out. And that was at the beginning of this crap. And they were that, imagine all the, like, oh my God, where we're at right now. I mean, it's
look,
apocalyptic movies have got it pretty right. I mean, even The Walking Dead has got it pretty accurate right about now. Like, just, I don't need celebrities trying to save the world, man. Just do what we do. Stay home.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. It's, if you're
always got to entertain.
If you found a good way to help, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, that's
right.
What 20 movie reviews are for, is to laugh and watch movies. If we're all going to be home anyway, let's watch some stuff that we enjoy, stuff that makes us happy. Stuff that maybe we hadn't given a chance to. Like, that was the thing that I was seeing a lot of content on YouTube is just angry or critical or just just negative in general. Like, that's not helping the situation.
Yeah.
It's just like getting more people, like, angry and riled up, or, like, there's a lot of different aspects of, like, the entertainment world. People being mad that the movies are pushed back. People being mad that the comic books are being pushed back. People, all these, like, my convention's being pushed back. And it's like, yeah, but you're alive.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a reason for all this. All this stuff that we have, comics, movies, games, they're all luxuries.
Right.
They're all things that we don't actually need. And, I would rather be me right now than some kid out in the desert somewhere who has no choice but to live there and has to sleep in the dirt, and he doesn't get to wake up to fucking Netflix every morning like we do. And we can't, this is only like a month and a half in, and we are like this over all this stuff. It's pathetic.
And of course, the longer this goes, the worse it's going to get. The more that government tells us, no, we can't do this, the worse it's going to get. And it's been a month.
I've got so much hand sanitizer I've been using that I feel like I smell like straight up grain alcohol.
Yeah, we have to clean our workstations when we get there and when we leave every day now. And the whole and there for a while we had bleach cleaner, and so the whole room, I mean, you felt like you were getting high the entire time we're doing a newscast.
This does make me, this whole situation makes me a little self-conscious, because I literally, and I know it's like convenient to say this now, like a lot of people could say, well, I was going to do this, but coronavirus means I can't.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to get my hair cut. Man, I got so much freaking hair right now.
My lazy barber
For a costume.
my lazy barber just finally decided to get off his butt and take care of it.
I don't. They haven't let I'm not supposed to. We're not. All that stuff is not essential around here.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody I trust,
Yeah.
and I'm at work. Working amongst the people, and I got this big bushy head of hair, and I'm around food. I'm around I'm in the grocery business, and so I look like I'm not taking it seriously. Everybody else is like high and dry cuts. Like I'm the long hair in the town full of normies. And so every time I go to work, I feel like, everybody's like, don't go near him.
Yeah. Well, it's long story short for me. It's like, personally, I've been dealing with a lot of stuff, but then I got to start thinking of not even like there's people I know that are out of work. There's people that I know are susceptible because they have like bad immune systems for other things. There's so many other people that have it way worse than me. There's days where I have to tell myself, it's like, yeah, things may suck for you right now, but nut up, right? Because stop being a wuss. I have to tell myself that sometimes because, like, look, you can still get up. You're still able to go to work. You're still able to move. You're still able to go take care of your kids, all that stuff. It's like, don't worry about the small stuff. We'll deal with the small stuff later. You got to step up because there's other people that have it way worse than you. And then there's other people that have it way worse than them. So I shouldn't be complaining about, any little thing that I'm worried about, even though, because there's people I'm worried about. There's, I have lots of people in my life that have been affected by this in some way, shape, or form. And I'm sure you do too. So it's like, there's a lot more people that have it worse. And there's days I have to get up and say, you know what, shut up and just get up and do your job.
There's times when I'm at work and I'm like, I'd rather be anywhere but here, and forgetting that a lot of the people we talk to don't have that luxury. And so, but at the same time, I still just kind of go, I think as a human being, we can't help but just be like, shut up.
Yeah. It's going to get to everybody, and we just have to do our best. Especially, like I said, I'm trying to laugh my way through it.
Yeah.
People are, I've had people like, how can you laugh at this? It's like, well, would you rather me be crying right now?
Yeah.
I'm going to hit the chat here just so I don't get too far behind. Paul says, is Pixar still going to release Soul in June? I don't think so. I think they pushed it back, but I don't know.
We did that one.
Yeah, I don't know if they gave it a date or not. Any word on Black Widow and the Eternals? Well, Black Widow took the Eternals spot, and I think Eternals took Shang-Chi's spot.
Yeah,
I think they just kind of pushed everything. And then Wonder Woman got pushed till later this year too, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember when, but I know it got pushed back later in the year as well. Bill says they can bring back drive-ins. I think they have in some cases. And have our opinions on the ending of the world, War of the Worlds changed.
Drive-in theaters, you mean, or drive-in restaurants?
I think he means theaters.
I can do that. That'd be cool.
mean, if they're allowing us to go outside and wait in our cars for food, why can't we wait outside in our cars and watch a movie?
We're not 6 foot distancing in the car. If there's I guess you'd have to what? Be sign off on your own family, and you can't mix. You can't get out of each other's. You can't get out of the car and go into somebody else's. If you go to the snack room, you have to be 6 feet apart.
And as you, I'm sure, and I think I can't remember if we talked about this at the beginning of or before we started or whatever, but I mean, you work at a grocery store. I worked at a grocery store. They're not going to be able to keep people 6 feet apart all the time. I mean, they can try they might. They can try all they might, but they can't. I don't remember the end of War of the Worlds, but have my opinions. I don't remember the end of it. It's been a long time since I've seen any version.
Where the aliens come out and they can't breathe our air.
Yeah, that's right. They basically die of a common cold, right?
Yeah, basically.
Well, maybe what's going on in the world is keeping the aliens away. Let's see.
No, I think we're keeping the aliens away just fine ourselves.
We joke at work that that we're like the episode of South Park where we're like a television show for aliens.
Yeah.
And then someone's going to figure it out, and then we're all going to become like reality stars. Let's see. Daniel says Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse got delayed. Man, that was coming out late next year. That's terrible. Let's see. Rick and Morty's coming in May, Bill says.
Yeah.
Daniel says, I really like Trolls World Tour. 8.5 out of 10. Wow, that's high praise. But the first film was better. I thought they were about the same. I don't give numbers, but I would give them above average. Better if you have kids, I think. Bill says, I feel like a major crisis turns up the contrast on who people are. Yeah. I mean, just when it snows here in Illinois, we see how bad people can get.
Yeah, Bill knows. Bill's a fellow Illinois. Yeah, I mean, when it's 40 and then 80, then snows.
Yeah.
You know.
And Daniel says they already delayed Soul till November. Okay. It's now open against Godzilla versus Kong. That's if movie theaters exist in November. Who knows?
Yeah. Hey, has anybody else seen the trailer for Capone with Tom Hardy?
I haven't got to watch it yet, but I'm happy that they are releasing that on demand because I've been looking forward to that one.
I'm going to be renting that. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. I
Tom Hardy is Capone. Old Capone.
Yeah, what was it? It was supposed to be called Fonzo first, right? And then they changed it to Capone, and then they were going to release it in theaters, but now it's just going straight on demand. Yeah, I haven't got to watch the trailer yet, but it's Tom Hardy playing Al Capone. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Speaking of Tom Hardy, then we got Venom 2.
Yeah, that got pushed back.
Yeah, but they called it, what is it supposed to be, Enter Carnage or Here Comes the Carnage or something like that?
I was fine with the subtitle. I think it's Here Comes the Carnage or something along those lines. Yeah, I was fine with the subtitle. I'm just glad they gave it a subtitle because I can't stand any of these movies having a number attached to it anymore.
Yeah,
since they're all connected. It's like, I don't want to see a number. I know Iron Man kind of has to do it because that's what they did at first. You know, you had Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, right? But so they felt they kind of had to do that.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm glad all the other Marvel movies gave it a subtitle instead, which kind of made it feel more like a comic book versus a movie, you know?
Sure.
Yeah, I was fine with the subtitle. If it's not great, and I'm glad they fixed the way Woody Harrelson looked because that mop of a wig was terrible. I know they were going for like the character's look. I get it, but it just didn't look right on him. And I guess they shortened his hair in this one, like in the movie. So I guess they kind of buzzed it. So that works for me. And it's Woody Harrelson playing Carnage. I'm fine with that. You know?
Yeah, I feel like that they're rushing again. This is weird because it's like I feel like this is Sony's idea to bring Carnage in. I feel like Venom 1 was fine as a setup movie, whatever. I feel like second movie, if you're gonna have Spider-Man in it at all, that needed to be the Venom Spider-Man kind of, and you can have Cletus in there, I think, as like kind of an introductory character from continuing in the second movie, like building up a little more as a potential threat until the third movie. And I feel like they really should have just established Eddie and Peter in the second movie.
I can see that.
Rather than have Carnage come, because then those characters will have already known each other and gotten through the whole bull crap that they always go through in those movies where they hate each other. Well, we come like reluctantly to help you at the end, that kind of movie. But no, we're going to get that like all in one movie, and it's like too much again. They're trying to do too much. That needs to be a 3-arc. Like, I don't also understand why everything has to be in threes.
Right.
Everything had to be a trilogy. Why can't there just be like the Fast and the Furious, where it's like, I don't like those movies, but I respect their model. Let's just keep carrying on. They may have a number at the end of it, but they're all continuations of the last thing.
Yeah.
You don't need, I don't know. You don't have to put it has to be this structure just because that started with what? Star Wars?
Yeah. I mean, see, I really thought that the second Venom movie was going, especially after they finalized Spider-Man coming back. I really thought they were going to establish. I mean, yeah, you're going to have Carnage, but Venom was going to need Spider-Man's help.
Yeah,
and also I think that's how they were going to have. That's how they were going to get the spider on, like the spider symbol on to Venom, where he was going to have to go on to Peter Parker for a bit, and then that's how it kind of happens, a cheap, easy way to get him the logo.
yeah. You can use the line, like I like this look,
Yeah.
I don't like him, but I like his style or some crap like that. I don't know.
Well, apparently they were teasing that they were going to do a similar symbol in the original Venom movie because Tom Hardy was showing like this military tattoo, and it almost looked like the Punisher logo in a way, kind of a skull and crossbones thing, and it would have fit. It would have been fine on the costume, but they never did it. So I think they're just gonna, when they get Spider-Man in there, that's how they're gonna get the branding. He's going to need some power from Spider-Man or something. They're going to work that out somehow. Because I do think Peter Parker is going to hide out in San Francisco, and that's how they're going to establish him in the Venom verse. Even though they've already kind of teased that Spider-Man exists in the Morbius movie with that poster and with having Vulture in there. So
I forgot about that movie.
Yeah, it got pushed back too, I think, sometime next year. I don't remember when that is. All the Sony stuff.
Morbius was supposed to be out like this month.
I can't remember when it was supposed to be out. I thought it was later this year, but I don't remember. I can't remember the dates anymore, especially since all of them are moving around. But I am curious how they're going to fit all that Sony stuff into the Marvel universe now. I'm kind of glad they are, because now that kind of forces them to work together, especially because if you're going to introduce those characters in the Sony movies, you can't back out now.
Yeah.
That's why I hated that they spoiled the Vulture thing in the Morbius trailer.
Yeah. Oh, I did too.
But at least that tells me that they're invested.
Yeah, they wanted. I think that's to reassure people that we're in MCU territory still.
Yeah. See, I think that picture of Spider-Man would have been enough though, because that would have got people talking, right? Yeah. And that got me. I had to back up right when I was watching. I'm like, wait, was that Spider-Man on the wall? And it said murderer, and I'm like, oh wow, they're in the MCU. That's all they needed.
Yeah.
You could have saved the Vulture thing. But hey, I was fine with it after that. I'm like, at least I know. At least they're making it certain, which was nice.
Well, speaking of Spider-Man, what do you think of Sam Raimi coming in to direct Doctor Strange 2?
That's interesting. I am sad that Scott Derrickson isn't doing in the second one. I mean, of course, they are all, creative differences or whatever they said. I mean,
creative differences. I love that term now. It's such a loaded term.
Well, it always makes you wonder who is at fault. Were they both at fault? But it's just funny because, Taika Waititi was able, as many problems as I had with Thor Ragnarok. I liked that movie okay, but I thought it was too silly most of the time. I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed a lot of that movie, but at times I thought it was too funny.
My initial review was that I was like, I didn't really like. I was so hyped for that, and then I went, it's fine. I like it more now, but not like I get it. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I would watch it again. My son wants to see it. He loves the Hulk, so he's eventually going to get to watch it with me, and I know he'll enjoy the humor. And I love Taika Waititi. I love a lot of what he does. What We Do in the Shadows is great. The Search for the Wilder People is amazing. I can't remember the exact name of that movie. Hunt for the Wilder People. I'm a little tired. You have to forgive me. But and I love everything he does, but I just thought, I don't know, I had trouble feeling the impact of like the deaths and everything in Thor Ragnarok because of how funny the movie was.
Yeah.
I think like Endgame found a better balance.
Yeah.
Where, yeah, it was silly, but it was serious at all the right times.
And you had about 3 hours to do it.
There was that too. So it just made me curious that it's like, well, they let Taika Waititi basically do anything he wanted to do with Thor Ragnarok. So it makes me wonder, where was the problem with Scott Derrickson? What problem did they have? Did he want to go too much like a horror movie? Who knows? Disney didn't like that. I mean, you just never know. And it probably will never come out. I mean, I don't imagine he's going to make like the stink about it that say what's his name is doing about the Justice League. Zack Snyder's doing about the Snyder Cut, which I do really want to see the Snyder Cut. Don't get me wrong, not because I think it's going to be this most amazing thing in the world, but anytime an idea like that comes out, a recreation of a movie comes out, I just want to see what it was.
There's something to completing that train wreck that is desirable, as much as you're not going to enjoy the end product. You just kind of have to go, well, I've already committed so much of my time to this movie that I've got to see the whole picture. Like, it's not like Blade Runner, different cuts of Blade Runner. This is this infamous movie. This is something that, like, in pop culture and the DC universe failure, that's just fascinating to watch. And so I would definitely sit there and watch the Snyder Cut. I absolutely think it's going to be not any better than the Whedon Snyder Cut. But I do think it'll be interesting to watch the choices. I think that's it. Is the choices that cut would have made. That's all I really want to see. It's like, oh, so you think you can do better? Okay, all right. Well, then let's just see what your choices are that says that yours is better. And I want to see all the fans that have been crying about this, stoically, indefiantly, stand up for their movie that they've been screaming about for. And when it's whatever result they get, I want to know how many of them are going to be able to be honest about the end result, or will they, like I said, just stand there stoically, like in defiance of like what's in front of them?
Yeah, it's definitely mostly morbid curiosity for me.
Yeah.
I want to see how they were going to handle the resurrection of Superman. I want to see where the overall story was going to go, since we were going to get Darkseid and all that stuff. I wanted to see. Granted, I don't know how much better the effects were going to be. I mean, the effects in that movie were definitely rushed. I mean, Steppenwolf looked terrible. The covering up of the super mustache was, just from the very first of that movie, and you're wondering what the heck is wrong with his lip, when he's talking. It's just crazy on how rushed that movie was because of all the changes they had to make, because Zack Snyder leaving, being forced out, whatever the real reason was, he was taken out.
Family problem.
Well, that's what they said at first, but then it felt like they didn't like his vision either. Yeah, well, they wanted it to be more like the Avengers movie, where it was a little funnier. That's why they bring in Joss Whedon. And then
they started with the one thing, and then they went off on a tangent. And every film screening that they got was coming back awful.
Yeah,
and this movie couldn't fail to them. We can't fail. Otherwise, we're basically, if we can't make Justice League work, then we might as well start over.
Yeah, and
we committed to this.
Well, that's just it. They wanted to get it out so bad before, like, the next Avengers movie. They wanted, like, we need to establish ourselves before they put on their big movie. Let's get our team together. And yeah, it was.
I feel like there's an ebb and flow to this, that DC, had major head start and has had success in the past, all the way back to Christopher Reeves, first couple of Supermen. Then, you got and later in the 80s and 90s, you get the first couple of Batmans,
Yeah.
Granted, there are more of them. And Marvel barely had some very modest success with like Blade. And then they had a little up with X-Men, Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2. And then DC comes back with Batman Begins and Dark Knight. And then Marvel comes back with everything.
Yeah.
And DC trying to scramble and then never, like, instead of just, I don't know, it's such an interesting story. So I have a feeling that DC's, like, Marvel is owed an ebb.
Yeah.
And, or whatever's the bad thing. Like, I feel like Marvel's headed for a dip while DC's headed for a rise for a little bit. I think the ground for Marvel is going to be a lot more shakier, especially with the what they're doing in their movies and their comics right now are really weird and off. And I think DC's finally embracing the insanity of these are comic books, these are superheroes, and whether you like Aquaman or not, like, I think it's a lot of fun. I think they're finally learning how to have fun in the DC universe. And I think that the Marvel universe is starting to take itself too seriously.
Well, that's just it. It's DC. They were darned if they do and darned if they don't. If they would have taken the model that Marvel had and gone slow and established all the characters and built up to a Justice League movie, people would have said, you're just trying to be like Marvel. So they go, well, we don't want to do that, so we're just going to rush it together. They should have still gone slow. As much as people would have said you're trying to just be like Marvel, and of course everyone is doing the shared universes, at least there for a while, tried to do the Dark universe, and now there's the Conjuring universe, and Lord knows what else we're going to get eventually.
Fast and Furious has got a universe now.
Yeah, and so DC's smart move would have been, people are going to say we're trying to be like Marvel, but we're going to do a bunch of good movies, and the Justice League movie is going to make sense.
Yeah.
Versus we crammed Batman and Wonder Woman into a Superman movie, and then we had Justice League, so it's like, oh, let's introduce these three characters, real quick in these little video clips, and they'll be ready for the next movie. Yeah. And all of it just felt rushed and it was ridiculous. I like what they're doing now where, Aquaman still did kind of connect to Justice League because they mentioned Steppenwolf and all that stuff. But the new Wonder Woman's probably not going to have too many connections. Shazam had a connection. I was fine with that. Of course, they didn't really show Henry Cavill at the end, but it was supposed to be Henry Cavill. It would have been better if they would have had him there. But being that I think they got like a stunt double to do it, it worked. So, and of course in the credits, it totally connected because it had him hanging out with the Justice League and all those animated scenes and everything. And they mentioned things in the movie. I like that. Yeah, some stuff connected, but they're kind of trying to separate it. I think they're going to just establish all their solo heroes. And then eventually, we've established these guys, whether or not we connected the universes, we're still just going to bring them together eventually for another Justice League movie. And people will be fine with that. Because
comments.
What's that?
We're starting to get back up in comments.
Okay. Let's see. Where were we?
I didn't mean to cut you off. You just finished what you were saying. I was just like,
oh, no, I was just saying that I think they're eventually going to do another Justice League movie, even though their universes aren't as connected as Marvel.
No.
Yeah, I'm going to finish up the comments here, and then I'm probably going to have to stop for the night. Paul says, what about Halloween Kills? Is still coming out in October? As far as I know, they're still coming out in October. I haven't heard it.
Out.
Yeah, Halloween Kills, and then the last Halloween movie is supposed to be next year at the same time.
Last Halloween movie, I love it.
Yeah, Halloween, I can't remember, Halloween Dies or something like that. It's something like that. I can't remember exactly what it is. At least they're not putting more numbers on it.
Yeah.
We're not getting H2O again and things like that. And Halloween 666. Let's see. I kind of wish they just would have ended it with the last Halloween movie. But when you didn't see his body at the end, you're just like, yeah, they're making another one.
Why can't we create new slashers? Like, why do we just keep going back to the same guys? Just make some new ones.
Let's see. Daniel says also Sony's Connected got delayed to October 23rd instead of September. I'm not even sure what Connected is.
Said one with Danny McBride. With they take the road trip animated movie with the road trip where they try to get rid of their phones. Can't have your phone on the trip. He's taking his daughter to college or something like that in the cartoon.
Daniel says it's called Venom. Let there be a turd in the wind. Bill says there should be a Fast and Furious Looney Tunes crossover movie. That'll probably eventually happen because they are supposedly, if it isn't there already, they supposedly did a Fast and Furious cartoon, or they were going to for Netflix.
How has that not been like they waited this long and there's not like some cheap like WB CW cartoon out there like Fast and Furious. Like
I think Netflix supposedly has one, or they're going to have one.
Oh wow.
For Fast and Furious. I have no interest. Let's see. Daniel says Morbius was supposed to come out July 31st. Okay, that's right. And then Paul says, when is Milan coming out, or is it VOD? They bumped it back in theaters. Disney's not going to let that cash cow come out on Disney Plus or anything, I'm sure.
Yeah, there was speculation on whether that would go right to Disney Plus, and it's like, no, they're not going to give you everything. Like the reason I think Artemis Fowl is coming to Disney Plus is because of name recognition. Nobody knows what Artemis Fowl is anymore.
Yeah,
there's a subsection of people. I shouldn't say nobody, but Artemis Fowl isn't as big as Mulan in people's hearts. It's just that's the way it's going to be.
Well, yeah, that's just it. If it's going to be a blockbuster, even though I know David Harbour came out and said, yeah, it'd be fun if they released Black Widow on Disney Plus. I think that would have been amazing. I would have loved it, but it ain't going to happen because that movie's going to make bank because it's a Marvel movie. Any movie that's going to be a blockbuster, they're going to hold back. They'd rather push back.
Yeah.
And hope that the theaters come back.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder for Black Widow,
And then also, I know about theaters coming back. I remember reading something about AMC. They were doing really bad stock-wise, and I guess their credit rating got pushed back, but they were able to come up with like millions upon millions of dollars, and their credit rating went back up. So I don't know, because they were talking about how they didn't know if they were even going to be coming back. AMC, they said it may fold. But I don't see that happening. But
if they ever do decide to sell, I'm going to see how much I can get one of those reclining chairs for.
That would be nice. It would be nice to have one of those. But anyway, man, Rob, thank you so much for joining me for this tonight. I know we've been talking about doing something like this for a long time.
Anytime you want, man. Anytime you want.
And we need to do more of them. I need to get better at
these are easy to do.
And that's just it. It's just like, it's like, when can I do this? When can I do that? And it's like, I just told myself whenever I messaged you the other day about doing something, I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to worry about when are we going to do it. I'm just going to say, we're doing it on this day. Do you want to do it?
Yeah.
And I'm glad we did. It was a lot of fun. Why don't you I'm going to have it in the description below, but why don't you tell everyone where they can find your channel? On
YouTube, Smirking Gun Reviews. On Twitch, we are Smirking Gun Plays. On Twitter, we are at reviews_gun. Wow, I've got multiple things to say about my social media impact these days. That's awesome. It used to just be I'm on Twitter, and you already know where my channel is.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a third thing. I didn't even think about that.
Well, Rob, thanks again for joining me, man. It was a lot of fun, and I look forward to doing this again. Everyone, check out, if you're watching this on the back end, check out Rob's channel. He does especially a lot of great TV episode reviews. A lot of insight on that. Definitely check out his 420 reviews from this month. They're a lot of fun as well. So anyone, thank you for joining us for this. And again, if you're watching this on the back end, make sure to subscribe to Smirking Gun Reviews and my channel, The Real Geno. Till next time, see you later.